game victory, 2 world champions. What more can one ask for?
That was a terrific match.
This game is just a blessing for the league because it will be talked about for years and years and will be remembered for a very long time.
Vishy had such a great game. He played beautifully until the moment when Magnus Carlsen took over. And in the end game, he made something incredible.
You don't see promoting to a knight all that often, and I feel like that game spoke louder than words ever could.
It was a fight between two kings, one of the best chess games I've ever seen.
This was a world championship match in 2023, another one.
Pure magic at the Tech Mahindra Global Chess League. As the chess legend Vishwanathan Anand took on the Mozart of chess, Magnus Carlsen, in an unforgettable game. In the studio with me, Peter Swidler and Ketty. Ketty, is that a contender for Game of the Year?
I can say yes. It is easily been one of the best game of all time. For sure, it was the best game of yesterday. We saw a lot of people talk about this in internet. Everybody wanted to understand what was going on because we had Vishwanathan Anand and Magnus Carlsen, two players who know each other so well. They have played so many games, but I guess they both might think that there was the game of their match and their history. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, it was something that not only Magnus Carlsen played a good game, but also Anand played really nicely that game.
It takes two to tango, one for the history book. Let's relive it. Let's take a look at the highlights from this game that's going to live for generations. Peter, is this one that generations will watch and admire?
Absolutely, and the ending of it, the whole game was brilliant, but the ending will be very much remembered. You don't see under promotions very often at all, and in a must-win game for two players of this magnitude, this is something to treasure. This will be a memory for years and years.
And starting from the beginning, Magnus choosing the French, the first big surprise, a slow start, and then absolute fireworks on the board.
Yeah, a typical Magnus game in a way, but just so good.
There was a moment when both players stayed after the game and they started to talk and analyze. This is not happening in chess. They usually just rush out from the playing venue, but I think they took about 5 minutes just to talk. And here we have this moment when the resignation happened.
And also that moment when they looked up and smiled at each other.
That was fantastic.
It was amazing to watch. Just some very memorable highlights there. But of course, the action continues at the Tech Mahindra Global Chess Leagues. We've got big matchups coming up over the next 3 hours. We will see the Chingari Gulf Titans fight on the Triveni Continental Kings. And right after that matchup, another big one, Vishy Anand-led Ganges Grandmasters against the Baden Alaskan Knights. That first match, Ketty, how much of a must-win is it for the two teams?
It is crucial for those teams because I can easily say the team which loses today can go home because those two teams are bottom in the list, and Triveni Continental Kings has 6 points and Chingari Gulf Titans have 7 points out of all the standings. So this is the crucial for them.
The Triveni Continental Kings did win their last match against the Chingari Gulf Titans. They will be playing each other in a must-win situation. Let's take a look at our leaderboard. And there we have it at the top of the leaderboard, the SG Alpine Warriors, followed by the Ganges Grandmasters. Peter, what is the strategy that you're expecting from the teams fighting to climb up the leaderboard?
It's a must-win. I think all 3 remaining matches are more or less must-wins for both the Chingari Gulf Titans and the Triveni Continental Kings. They haven't started particularly well, and time is really running out. I will say that the Titans won their last 2 matches, so at least the mood must be a lot better in that camp because their fortunes are trending up a little bit. But they still must play sharply for a win in every single match, or they will not even have a chance of getting to the grand finals on Sunday.
This match could be one of the most decisive number of games that we've seen in the Tech Mahindra Global Chess League so far, with the finish line in sight. It's very important for all the players across boards to bring on their A games. We've seen some brilliant chess from the players so far. Let's take a look at the big top performers. And Katy, there's one name that's on everyone's mind.
This is the name, which is so complicated to read it out, but we call him Prague, and he has the best performance out of all the players. Out of 7 matches, he scored 6.5. He won 6 games, drew just 1 game, and has never lost any of the game. This is the player so far after 7 rounds of this tournament. And if we take a closer look, we can see only 3 teams that is in this list. And we see here Mumbai Masters, Alpine Warriors, and also Ganges Grandmasters. So we can easily guess those teams are the top teams right now after the round 7.
They have been the top 3 performers of the league so far. And Peter, the world has been talking about Prague. Magnus, big praises from him yesterday as well. What has impressed you the most about Prague's play?
The way he seems completely unfazed by whichever positions he gets. Not every single position he got, let's say, midway through the game here was necessarily good, but he never loses his cool. He continues calculating, continues being composed, and just generally makes far fewer mistakes than his opponents. And he's had a bit of a rough year so far, so it's very good to see him playing very near his best, or maybe at his best here. I do feel like maybe the best is yet to come. Despite 6.5 out of 7, he's been a fantastic player here.
Tanya, there was one moment when, right before the start of this tournament, Prague shared on his social media a photo that he had an exam right before this tournament. You can imagine. He's studying, he's at the school, and he has to write still these exams. And one of the questions was about chess, in particular the Olympiad, which happened in Chennai this year. So he was well prepared by the history of chess and also on the chessboard team.
And that was a breakout performance for Prague at the Olympiad as well. That was amazing to watch. So he's stopping not just the chessboard, but hopefully his exams as well. Now, Peter, you mentioned cool and composed. That's exactly what the Triveni Continental Kings and the Chingari Gulf Titans need to make sure they bring on the board today. We will be finding out the colors that the teams will be playing with. And it will be the Triveni Continental Kings taking on the white pieces, as they did play with the black pieces in the first half. There we see Grandmaster Leo Kwan Valley for the team Triveni Continental Kings with that white queen. What are you expecting from this match? I want predictions. Katy, who's taking this one?
I think in the predictions, I would go with Triveni. Because I believe that the last board there is some situation out there, so I would bet for that.
Triveni Continental
Makes
Kings?
my life very, very easy, because I wanted to take Chingari anyway, and I will now happily take Chingari. I think, as I mentioned, having won the last 2, they must be in a much better mood. And for Triveni, the situation is very desperate, and sometimes it brings the best out of people, but more often than not, it doesn't. So yeah, I think Chingari start as favorites here.
Wow, let's take a look at the fights that we will be witnessing in this must-win match for these 2 teams. The icons, Jan Christoph Duda takes on Levon Aronian. And we also see a big one in the Prodigy board, as Nihal Serene will be playing against Jonas. Which will be the decisive game in this one, Katy?
It is the previous match between these 2 ended in favor of Nihal Sarin, and perhaps Jonas is looking for the rematch right now.
And what about you, Peter? Would you agree with that? We see the players here. We've also got a big switch with Sarah playing her second game for the match.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see if Wei can return to winning what seemed like every single game. He started really, really well. It hasn't been going all his way in recent matches, but he is the standout performer for the Triveni Continental Kings. If he strikes in this match, they will be, of course, much the happier.
Yeah, and we saw the players there. They look very relaxed, like having a good time. But very soon, we will have the moves on the board. The players are ready to get to business. We will take a short break and be right back with the first moves from the Tech Mahindra Global Chess League.
Back at the chessboard, we can see all the players getting ready to start this round. We also see the chief arbiter in the playing venue. They will start very quickly the clocks, and here we have match 21, day 8 here in Dubai, Chingari Gulf Titans against Triveni Continental King, and here we are in the commentary studio, James, Katy, and Samai. Hello, guys.
Hey, hello.
Let's
Hi.
go. We here.
James, for the first time, we both together in the commentary box. Give me a high five.
High five. Let's go.
Hello, Katy.
Hello. So here we
Guys,
have the lineup.
Today is a
Samai.
super important day, isn't it, Katy? Because the both
Yes.
teams are in a must-win situation. What do you think about these matchups?
Well, we do have Jan Christoph Duda, Levon Aronian, icon players. They don't want to go home, Samai. They want to fight until the end. Then Shakir Mamadgirov, Yu Yangi, Daniel Dubov, Baby, Alexander Kostyuk, Katerina Lakno, Paulina Shuvalova. We have Sarah Hadam joining the tournament, Michal Starin, and Jonas Bree also on the last board. This is the junior board. James, which of these boards do you think will be the decisive?
Yeah, decisive. In fact, too, definitely that second board for me. I like Shakin Radirov versus Yu Yangi. Definitely some aggressive players there. You also got that Wei Yi and Daniel Dubov. I mean, everybody's going out. Look at the emotions. You can see the emotions on the faces there from Jan Christoph Duda and Levon Aronian. This is going to be an epic matchup. I think one for the ages right now.
That's right. And can we have a brief discussion about the leaderboard? Guys, Chingari Gulf Titans right now at 7 points, and behind them is Triveni Continental Kings at 6 points. And if they win, which they have to, they get 3 points for winning. So that will make sure that they are still in the fight. Basically, if they lose today, there's no way they can make it to the top 2. And the whole fight is about making it to the top 2. Here we have Levon Aronian versus Jan Christoph Duda. Can we have an analysis board? Wow.
Look at this situation. We have actually
So
two boards right now. For the second, we had this Samai. Well, you know how I feel? Every day we had some changes. We had leaders being changed. We had also bottom of the list changing. But today is the day that we have to say goodbye. One of the teams.
Yes, today one of the teams will, I'm sure, be out of this race, and here we'll find out which one it is. Currently, Levon Aronian versus Duda. Maybe, James, you can tell us about this opening.
Oh, yeah, this is an Italian game. In fact, we have right now the slow Italian. Actually, Giri has a nice chessable course on this. Of course, they label me as Mr. Chessable, as I basically know so much theory. With that being said, this here being C3, A5 is a move. We're going to play A4 next lots of times. It does stop the B4 is what he wanted to play. Sometimes he's going to go bishop E6. We probably will see a bishop E5 too as well. This is what they call the slow Italian. But the stop and think there from Levon Aronian, because A5 in this move order usually isn't played right now. And Jan Christoph is actually trying to figure out a little bit of his theory. What should I play? Same moves. Rook E1, H3. We want to get B4 in, but we can't. We are going to see knight B to D2 at some point too as well. Maybe even an A4.
That's right. In the studio, we also have our master fiddler. And I would like to ask him, how do these players feeling right now? They might be under pressure. That can be one of the last rounds for them.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to assume that there's a lot of pressure on both teams here. And you can also, you can already see some manifestations of it, because Shahryar Mamedjarov on board 2 has played the Skandi.
Wow.
Which I don't think I've seen him do very much at all until today. Perhaps my memory does not serve me correctly, but I honestly don't remember him doing this. And this clearly is a nod towards the tournament situation. He is pretty much gambling. For the viewers who don't know what the Skandi is, the charitable version, which the famous Danish Grandmaster Bent Larsen espoused, was that it's just a good Caracan. But in fact, it's a very, very risky opening, which people generally only play when they need to play sharply for a win with the black pieces. So Shah obviously respecting the tournament situation a great deal there. The other boards don't really look as drastic as that one, but that one did strike me as unusual.
Thank you so much for those insights, Master Swidler. Right now, knight has been moved to d2. I guess the simple plan is to come to f1 and then to g3. Just make sure the knights are towards the king side, because that's where all the action will happen.
Agree with this, then the knight is no way going to stand here and closing the road for the bishop, which is on the dark squares.
Yeah.
That will be the plan here. At some point, white might also try to strike in the center and push the pawn forward, but this is something that you might wait for a bit for the best situation to pull it. You guys, I suggest to take a look at bird's eye view and check out what is happening and what openings happened on the other boards. So we talked a little bit about the second board. This is in the middle of the top, and we can see this queen being so early developed on the board. And we know in chess it's not such a great idea, because queen is the heaviest piece. It costs like 8 pawns. You don't really need to bring that very early. And if we take a look, the other board, this is a junior board, Bray against Nihal. We also have another queen situation there.
What would you rather have, 9 pawns or an extra queen?
Extra queen, because it's
Definitely.
really, really, really powerful.
So if I take away 9 of your pawns, you'll give me and you'll have a queen. That's okay.
I think that's another. That sounds to me another game challenge that we can play
That
today.
sounds like some content. That's
Guys,
some
I don't think you
content.
paid attention to the question. There's no way I can take away 9 pawns from you guys.
No, we have
Why
to just gotta
not?
find a.
Because there are only 8 pawns, Katie.
There's only 8.
But you can take one more.
What?
Yeah, that happens in chess. That's called chess variety. Oh, I see Peter wants to say
Have you
something.
never played Buckhouse or something, Samay?
Oh yeah, Bughouse, in which there are 4 people who played on 2 different boards, right?
That's right.
That's
Yes.
right.
Damn, yes.
That's right,
Katie
but
is
you
clearly-
are very
clear-
smart.
Clearly one step ahead of you here.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
why you're trying the gotcha. You're not getting anyone here.
Do not question Mastersfield.
That was a tricky question, Samai. Indeed. Is there any board you think that we have to take a look at?
Let's have a look at board 6, the junior board, because right now I think something is happening over there. The knights are out. Is there a fork with a pawn there? If we can go on board number 6.
That's a very good question. We're gonna take a look at the board, but before that we have the players, Nihal with black pieces, Jonas with white pieces. Here they have played this opening. I think they are just trying to be a bit solid as it can be.
Yeah,
the
this is
last
the Ray
round.
Lopez, right? This is the
Absolutely.
opening that Mr. Anand Mahindra played against Vishwanathan Anand in their game. That was that was shown in the video. There's a video, you should watch it. It's a very fun opening, and it's one of the sharpest openings, right?
Right, and how the match between Anands ended.
I think the winner was Anand.
Ah, okay. Nice. Wow. Man, that was a surprise there. Never would have got that one.
James, Samai asked to move d5. What happens if white pushes this pawn in
Yeah,
the
why not?
center?
Just push d5.
D5, where the problem is we can probably just take it with something. Maybe the knight or the bishop here. And that is just a pawn to the good. I appreciate the generosity from you there, Samay. After knight takes d5, okay, we take on with the queen here. Or the bishop, but then queen takes, and we just up a pawn. We just
But
up
then
a
you get
clean
rook
one.
e1 extra check,
That
right?
is
And
correct.
extra
Extra
moves
check.
are always appreciated,
That
right?
is nice. I could go king f8 and just kind of tuck and roll here. The option is I don't have to castle because queens are off the board. So it's more of an endgame-ish type of game where we are reaching some endgames. But I think white does have some slight initiative here. Definitely some initiative, but it's not super good. We are just down a pawn here. And we need to win. We need to go for the win here. So this is probably not the greatest here, as we do want to go for a win. Let's actually see what we have here and what happened in the game. After queen h5, knight e5. Yeah, that's the way to do it there. Put some pressure on the c6 knight here.
Can you just push it with b5?
b5 is definitely possible.
Wow, Samai really wants to see some fireworks
He was like,
on the
"Can we just do
board.
b5? I think you probably take, and then maybe d5. The problem is the a4
There's also
pawn is
bishop
here.
d1, which could be interesting on,
Ooh,
both
look
on
at
this
that.
move and on the previous move as well.
Yeah, that's nice.
Swinging it over to f3. This looks very dangerous.
Oh.
Yikes.
I think this is why Nihal chose not to do any of that and just castled quietly after 95. And now there was a trade on c6, as you see on the large board. And the black structure looks more vulnerable and this is why you see the evaluation bar slightly preferring this for white. But the white central pawn is also a very legitimate target for counterattack, and black definitely has reasonable chances to equalize here eventually. But from the beginning, like from here, I'm definitely picking white and thinking I have a shot.
The d4 pawn, you know, is actually it's called the isolated queen's pawn, if I'm not wrong. And my grandfather used to say that a person who does not know how to play with the isolated queen's pawn should quit chess.
Okay.
Okay.
Isn't it? Have you heard this saying, Master Swidler?
Your grandfather was a very stern man. Yeah. Because I, for instance, obviously I've been doing everything wrong because I should have quit about 30 years ago, and that would have, you know, saved the world from my, you know, desperate flailings. Instead, I continued blithely without really ever realizing how to play with the IQP. No, I think that's a bit harsh. It's one of the more difficult topics in chess, and if you do know how to do it well, it will serve you extremely well, because this structure appears from a wide variety of openings. But yeah, saying that to a kid, no wonder your comedy is what it is. You know, that's all I'm gonna say. No wonder you go to such dark places in your comedy, Samai.
Everyone has a past, Master Swidler. But right now here, they have a double pawn, which is a very big weakness, just like my upbringing.
Yeah, this is
It
interesting.
is a weakness here, and those are 2 pawns. White has only 1 pawn, so if some trades can happen here, white will get actually hands on 2 pawns instead of 1. So I might see this as in the end game where pieces are off the board, white might have extra pawn because of this.
Guys, if we look at board number 1, maybe if you can go there, not even one piece or a pawn has been exchanged so far. What a game.
What is the players are not in the mood today? Look at them. They barely have an eye contact. The posture of their bodies also says that they might not enjoy very much this, because usually we like to compete. We like to play for the first place and for the competition. And this is the match of saving the team.
Yeah,
to
and they
stay
must
here.
win not just this match, every single match they have to win in order to be able to make it. So a lot of pressure on both the teams. Do you think that's translating in their opening choices today, James?
Yeah, this is what's known as the slow Italian here. Of course, I mean, Levon has played e4, and also Duda plays e5. He plays c5. They play a little bit of everything at this level here, but I mean, it's a slow Italian, and they're
How
trying
is
to
it slow?
focus,
He has
but it's
only
difficult.
taken 1 minute on the clock,
Yeah,
James.
right. Slow Italian because of the position. Nothing has been traded. In fact, they have literally all of their pieces still, which is, you know, you can go to sleep in these type of games because it's just a lot of maneuvering, and it's going to take a long time to get anything going. Now, of course, don't go to sleep too quickly because something could happen very quickly. They do say keep the tension, which you see the tension here. So if you trade, it might allow me to get some things, for instance, an open D file maybe, or even like I can trade off this bishop for this bishop. Or, you know, if you take this way, like if D takes E5, then we maybe get 2 pawns in the center versus your 1. So a lot of times it has to be the right timing, but it is slow. And we have
where the pawn
A3.
goes?
Where is this pawn going? What are you doing with this pawn?
Creating an outpost. It wants the knight to come on B2 maybe
Oh,
in the
nice.
future.
Oh, that's, yeah, get the knight there. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
gonna,
just like
that's
that.
gonna take
Just like a bishop.
long time. That's going to take a long, but it is
But
possible.
Actually, guys, this move a3 blocks the pawn on a2, which is black's target, in fact, and white has to keep the eye on it. You have to keep the rook there, or maybe queen to guard the pawn. If you lose this pawn, then my pawn on a3 is just 2 moves away to be promoted to queen. And we can see Jan-Christoph Duda observing the other games. I think Samaya, I know what he's looking at. The third board, Daniel Dubov and Vei is something very interesting, and seems like it's gonna heat up very soon.
Oh,
Let's go.
Let's
Board
take
number
a
look
look.
at that. Floor 3.
In fact, the previous match between these 2 players ended in favor of Vei. Dubov lost the game. And let's see now what we're gonna have.
Yeah, even that game was very messy, and actually Vei was the one who overcalculated Daniel Dubov in that game. And let's see if that is going to be the case in this one. How did the game start? With the Queen's Gambit declined. No, it turned into something else. With is it called the Catalan?
It is Catalan, indeed.
I don't know. They both play from both
can
sides.
you go back a couple moves, James? I have a question here to ask, which I am sure many of our beginner viewers who are watching it across the world will have. Once the c5 is pushed, now there are two options, right? To either take c to d or to take d to c.
Right.
What is the correct option in these positions?
Well,
Yeah.
there is another option to some way, just to ignore it and let your
keep the
opponent...
tension, like you
Yeah.
said.
That's right. Keep the tension.
So what to do?
Well, the problem is that there's it's just very hard to keep the tension here. Of course, if you do pawn takes, t takes d4, there are going to be some problems, probably with queen d4. If you could just imagine a knight being there, right there, and the queen just kind of eyeing the d4 square as well. So which hence the move here, just d takes c5, and saying that, hey, if you want to get this pawn back, you're going to have to move your piece, your bishop, another time, or you're going to have to maybe try to waste some time getting the pawn back. In fact, Capablanca has a book, Chess Fundamentals, that says you should refrain from moving a piece multiple times in the opening. So if bishop takes c5, then we might actually take on d5 and actually just kind of expose this here. We may have to take with the queen, which allows knight to c3. We get some tempi, which is pretty nice for our position. But let's see what happened. In fact, d4, that's very aggressive there. Takes on b4, takes. This is interesting. This is what you need if you want to go for a win. Castles, knight to c6, knight b to d2. e5, making sure everything is very solid in the center there. Knight g5. Whoa, that is a move there. That is something. So that's
What's
some
the idea
spice.
though? Like h7 is defended,
Probably
That's
just bringing the
true.
knight back to
Good.
e4.
but
Yeah.
you just play the same piece twice, you know?
Is that right?
Yeah, that's okay, Samai, because
mhm.
white more or less developed all the pieces. Now you need to bring rooks, just rooks on the open file, but there's no open file. So for the moment, you can do this kind of things, because at least your king is safe.
Also, he's eyeing the c5 pawn with the queen.
That's true. But
He said you can
white
have
is
it.
going for the king's attack, I
Oh
think.
man, I feel like an h4 here, but okay, it doesn't work. G6, he went knight e4, bishop f5, takes, knight e4 again, queen e7, and a3, and here we are in the live position. I think this
Wow.
one's gonna be a draw.
What?
What?
Yeah, I know, right? I know, right? Yeah, I think this one's
That
gonna
was
be a draw.
unexpected.
Yeah, it's
I
the most
just-
complicated position ever, James. What a,
I've been looking at lots of positions lately.
maybe you can ask Master
Yeah,
Swindler
Master
if he
Swindler.
also thinks
What do
that
you
this is
think?
going to be a draw.
Well, draw is one of the three results, so there's about a 33% likelihood of this ending in a draw. But yeah, that came absolutely out of nowhere. I have no idea where that idea came from, because it is a hugely messy position. We could see some trades on the queen side here. I was trying to figure out why Wei is so happy about seemingly breaking up his own structure, but I think he wants the rook on b1. In the end of this line, if black decides to win the pawn back by trading the bishop for the knight and then taking the pawn on c5, I think Wei wants to move rook b1. And this is why he seemingly created, maybe even you call his leftmost pawn a weakness in some cases, but getting this rook to the semi-open file probably was more important in his assessment. And I think this is also why Daniel Lubov has not played all of this already, because I think that final position that we just discussed, that we just had on the analysis board, is a bit awkward for black.
With the b7 pawn being a little loose there.
Right. Well, I think out of four of us, three of us not agreeing with James that this game will end in a draw, at least for now, for the moment. You guys, there is very interesting situation on the board too. Let's take a look at that game, because so far, no one is in hurry to castle.
Yeah.
Both kings are in the center, and the question is, where are you going to castle? Oh,
Long
the
side, I think.
answer is long side.
And I think there was a massive development in favor of Shah on that board, because I was very curious. I will admit that I have not seen this particular approach to playing against the Scandinavian that Yuan Yi is showing, and I was wondering if this is very strong or just sort of okay and not more. And a couple of moves ago, there was a very critical moment in which, judging by my very brief research, Yuan Yi had a much stronger option, which he either didn't find or didn't evaluate as well as he could have. And I think Shah is just doing quite well now.
And Peter, the last move which Shah just made, I saw there was a good move, and he made in fact two good moves in a row. James, is that right? Knight to c6
Right.
is considered to be one of the best moves here, and then also castle.
Actually, becoming incredibly sharp, by the way, as you can see on your screens. Shah now, unless he has something smarter, and I don't immediately see what, he will have to recapture that bishop that is currently the last move white made was bishop taking the black knight on c6, and the most obvious reply would be to recapture that bishop, but that allows white to give a check with the queen, and the position becomes even messier. It already is very messy, and it becomes even messier. And you see Shah not doing it immediately, so he clearly has some other options. Perhaps there are some good intermediate moves here that you can consider. I'm not entirely sure which ones, though.
But we all agree
Oh,
that
bishop
the
takes
sharp
c2?
Shah is very, very dangerous, right?
Very dangerous. In
Yeah,
fact, very,
that would
very
be
dangerous.
one of them, the one that was just highlighted on our board. I'm also wondering if we could go for some endgames by just taking the other bishop with the queen, but that is that will end up leading to endgames in which white has a material advantage. So I don't see that as a particular improvement. Yeah, very, very intricate position, and I see now why Yuan Yi went for this, because at first it looked to me that his choices over the last 3 moves didn't really seem too on point. But now, having spent some time analyzing the current position, I can see why he thought it was good for him. I don't know if it actually is good for him, but it's definitely quite attractive because there's a lot of attacking opportunities in the future.
Wow, we just have such a big update on the board 5. We have to rush in on that board.
Yeah.
So we
There's a
just...
sacrifice on that board.
Wow, this is Sarah Hadam against Polina Shuvalova.
Whoa.
And something incredible just happened. We
Wow,
need the
that's
board
a brilliant
right
move,
now.
guys. With the double exclamation mark, if you can show it, James. Double exclamation mark. It means that it's a brilliancy. A very, very rare move that we have seen many times in this tournament because all of these players are actually geniuses.
That's right. And it's not so easy to make the best move against the genius chess player, right?
Yeah.
Well, what was the point, first of all? What happens if black captures this knight?
You just take back with the bishop with a check and also putting more pressure on the knight with your rook and bishop. So basically you're winning a piece. Plus the
We're
pawn.
winning piece back, so you're getting 2 pawns and you're getting very active rook.
Also the king, becomes
Yes.
very, very weak. So that was a great move. So you cannot take it.
That's right. So Polina decided to counterattack another knight, and now 2 knights are hanging. So which of the knights should be survived here?
Wow.
You know, how about... Oh,
that one.
wow, wow, wow. Both the knights are actually saving each other now.
Helping each other. This is a good move, which was found here by Sarah. Asking for a trade. You know, Samai, when you have extra material in chess, it's very good idea to trade the pieces.
Yeah.
So you're gonna convert that into the end game. So Sarah is actually trying to do that.
Down some time here, though. She has to catch up on time. 5-minute time edge, but I feel comfortable here from with the white pieces here. We can make some trades, and a6 may be hanging in some lines, but we do have to watch out for maybe a rook a8. Now we have queen c4. That looks like this. Knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Everything takes,
You just want a draw in every game, James.
Right? No, definitely not. Absolutely not. After rook a8, we go back to c4 here, and everything's kind of defended. I have the extra pawns to the good and the bishop pair, and I'm feeling gray here at the end of the day.
Right. So for those who just joined us, this is the match where 2 teams, which you can see on the bottom of the list, Chingari Golf Titans and Triveni Continental Kings, are fighting to stay in the competition. One of them can stay here, and this will be the one who will win this particular match. Now we should go
The
back
bird's eye
to
view, maybe?
Yeah, bird's eye view to take a look what is the full picture.
Okay, then.
Master
There's
Spidler.
been some developments, and there are some positions which are now looking quite promising for the Triveni Continental Kings team. In particular, I very much like what Levon Aronian got out of the opening against young Krzysztof Duda. This is a very typical setup where, in that line of the Italian, there are some ways for black to try and equalize, so to speak, by force out of the opening. Young Krzysztof instead played just for sort of general understanding, But then very often you do have to contend with the idea of white launching a direct attack against your king. And because that was a very real possibility, young Krzysztof is now sacrificing a pawn just to keep his game afloat. This is a very committal decision. He must not have been very happy about it, but he clearly could not find anything stronger, and he will have to struggle for equality in that game. Also, that very quiet king move that we saw on our screen, Daniel Dubov make against Yuan Yi, cost him another pawn. He clearly had something in mind, but for now he's just 2 pawns down, and it's not immediately obvious why his position is supposed to be any good. But on other boards, things are definitely heating up, because Shahryar Mamedjarov did find that move bishop takes e2, which Samay was pointing out, and their position potentially could go in favor of the Chingari Gulf Titans. And that's the all-important win with black that they absolutely must find somewhere.
Maybe we can zoom into game number 2, and I want to understand what is this bishop takes c2. I mean, the bishop is just hanging there. Maybe if we can have the analysis board, it's a very strange move. Bishop takes c2.
Right, look at how chilling is Shak. He's just sitting on back,
Relaxing.
looking
Arms
at
folded,
the
chilling.
boards.
Right.
He knows he has very good position. I would be so stressed right now. So many pieces are hanging. You just gave up the piece and take only pawn back, and he's just chilling.
James, and Katie.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time on that decision, but Yuan Yi is and now the critical moment comes, by the way. And the reason Shah is head and hands there is I think he has a very linear choice here. If he takes the bishop, I think it is just a draw, because white will have a perpetual in reply with the queen coming to b5 and then giving those checks.
I saw a smile on James' face.
Yeah, but you can actually not take the bishop again. We refuse to take this bishop now, and we can, as far as I can tell, say
This
no
bishop
to it
is so
again.
rejected.
But what about queen b5, Peter?
Queen takes d2 exists. You also have your own counterplay. The other bishop is hanging.
Ooh.
That's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
So are there no mating ideas with the bishop?
I think
black is
bishop
just faster.
d3, bishop d3 just ends and trades the, or bishop a4 even here to attack the queen.
Shah is now, obviously, he has seen king b8 exists, otherwise he would already have taken. And he is trying to make sure that the move doesn't lose, because it does look very, very scary to make a move like this without sort of double and triple checking everything. But considering the match situation, and also very much considering the tournament situation, I feel he has to play king b8. Even if he thinks it's a little bit of a gamble, it's a gamble they have to take as a team.
Wow.
Because otherwise they're just not progressing in this tournament.
That's so nicely put. It's even if it's a gamble worth taking in this tournament situation where they are in a must-win situation here.
So I have a question to you.
Oh no.
You're the one who can
I hope it's
come
not a
over.
chess question.
Well, look at this bishop. If we just go a little bit back, the bishop captured the knight, was not recaptured it back. Then this bishop captured the pawn, and now very likely Shak will refuse to capture it back. So if you can somehow give the name to this bishop, like what that reminds you, what kind of
That
situation is
reminds
here?
me of my classmates,
Oh no.
when I used to not take a bath and go to school.
Okay.
They would never hang out with me. They would just run away.
Oh no.
That's what the bishop is feeling right now. No one wants to take it.
Oh, that's you.
That's me.
Hang out with
So my
No one wants to hang out
bishop.
with the bishop. The bishop keeps coming everywhere. It goes to the pawn, goes to the king. Even the king runs away, man.
the king runs away from the bishop. Nobody
That was
wants it.
painful. That was painful. I
Pretty
thought you would
strong.
go with something funny.
No. The true funny comes from pain, Kiri.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had in my head. This bishop is someone which is not invited at the party. And here we have Shahryar Mamedjarov played king to b8. You don't need to ask him second time to gamble in the game for sure. Look at him, how chilled he looks.
Very chill. Sip of water there. Let me put my water down. And he feels relaxed here. Also up time as well. Up 4 minutes. White has to move. The knight is hanging. And the bishop at the same time. So you probably just need to go back.
One of them needs to be taken, right? Which one to take? You can't take the bishop, clearly. So you have to take with the knight, but with what? With the queen or the bishop? I guess with the bishop, because the queen and rook already have a great battery on the d file.
Yeah, I agree
Maybe
with
bishop
this.
c3 or something. But knight c3. Yeah, just probably just go back home.
Maybe we can
because it's no longer a perpetual. We will have the b6 square for the queen. This is sort of the whole point. It's quite intricate, actually, the idea
Wow.
here. We need to wait for that knight to leave the a4 square to have the queen b6 idea available to us. Yeah, Shah clearly, yeah, he's played king b8.
This is so against all the chess rules what they are doing right now
Yeah.
on the board, not capturing anything.
Don't try this at home, guys. Of course, right? Don't
Nope,
capture
nope,
some
nope.
pieces back, right? But no, here at this high level here, definitely king to b8. He did it for a reason to play on, and now if king b7, or actually after knight c3, king b7, we can block with our queen here. And lots of times in Scandinavian games, when you reach end games, the psychological factor kind of kicks in depending on what kind of end game you have, where black actually is the one that is okay and very comfortable going to end games. Many times, as you would see in the Carol Khan, where, you know, the psych part there is I didn't win through the opening with white, and now I'm in this end game where black usually has a very solid structure, or more solid than white's, and you can lose the game based off that factor alone. And the time. Look at Yu Yangi's time.
Yeah, 1 minute now.
Oh, seconds on the clock. Wow, this is the game that can end really quickly, either on time, on clock, or on the board.
Yeah, we have to stay here, even though the action is very much heating up elsewhere as well. Daniel Dubov appears to be in a lot of trouble in his game against Wei Yi. Wei Yi arguably could have had an even better position, but even the position he currently has is quite promising. But yeah, this one clearly has to be our focus for now, because in particular with Yuan Yi having as little time as he does, this is a very, very dramatic start to the round.
As you can see, guys, already in time pressure, Yu Yangi makes a slightly inaccurate move. Rook c1 giving black a little advantage, and if Shaq can keep this lead on time up, maybe he can provoke more inaccuracies, leading to a big blunder.
Yeah, I agree with that. What should be here Shaq's move? He withdraws the bishop
Yeah,
all the
just-
way back.
Just a nice, patient move. And now again, Yu Yangi has to think, and he has 50 seconds. He has to think quick.
He has to be quick.
And when you
here.
think quick, you
Yeah,
make mistakes.
That is correct. Knight b5 is probably the choice here, which is hence the move rook to c1 to put some pressure on the c file. And knight to b5 is definitely going to be a move here, hitting a7 and also hitting the c7 pawn as well. Black may go bishop b4 check there, just maybe with a king f2, and you might see something like, I don't know, bishop a5. Maybe not necessary, but Shaq does have the time to figure it out.
30 seconds, Katie.
Ooh.
26. And now
King
what did he play?
f2.
King
That's
f2.
what he is going. He wants to bring the rook into the action and guard the bishop, but this is
An
question
inaccuracy,
mark.
exactly. Another inaccuracy. And like I said, guys, time trouble.
Yeah.
Time and
it's-
tide,
it's-
wait for none.
What's
So
the
you-
what's the reason why this is such a bad move? How black here just end the game with this? But is it possible to push the pawn all the way on g5
Absolutely, 100%.
and attack the knight? And when the knight leaves, exactly that's the square. the
Guys,
bishop
a
can-
huge development on board number 3. Wei is completely winning against Daniel Dubov.
Wow.
Completely crushing position. Maybe we can have a quick look at that game and then return to this one.
Board
Board number
3.
3. Madness on the board.
We have to see right away this game. We can see that white is dominating on the board.
Completely crushing, and here Daniel Dubov has a lot of time, but the position is not in his support. Maybe we can have the analysis board here. And James, what do you think of this position? What's happening here?
Let's actually see
So
what
many bad
happened, in
moves.
fact. After bishop takes, queen takes, played f5, just playing very aggressive, which makes sense here because both kings are wide open. Definitely very sharp now. Queen takes c6 was a blunder. Rook f6 was apparently some type of miswin, but of course easier said than done. Queen e4, queen d5, rook check, king h6, avoiding checks himself, rook to a8 trying to trade. And I think after queen g5, the answer to that is f4, defending the
Oh,
checkmate.
nice.
And I think the main play is going to come by those pawns which are ready to become queens.
Double pawns. 2 times double pawns. That's a double
Yeah,
problem.
double
Double trouble.
double passers.
Double passers.
This
Defended
looks tremendously
passers.
good for Triveni, but seems like Yuan Yi on very, very low time went for some kind of a gambly continuation again on board 2, and is now
Two.
in probably irreparable trouble, judging by what the evaluation bar tells us. So perhaps we could switch to that, because that game could I think, finish at any moment.
Second. That's right. And
Yeah.
here we are back. This is board 2.
Yuan Yi decided not to even protect the the knight or on the other side of the board and continue attacking. And it looks like, honestly, it looks like black can just start picking up material here. I see nothing particularly wrong with just going after material here. You could also consider playing c7, c6 here, maybe, because white does have an idea of taking on c7 with the rook. But I want more. I want to find a direct win for black.
Peter,
And
can we be extra fancy here and sacrifice the queen, like take the knight?
yes,
That's it, Kitty.
That's it.
And when rook takes on c7, just sacrifice this or step back with the... No, yeah, okay, and then take the bishop
yeah,
with it.
I actually wanted more, because now the queen takes this pawn, and unfortunately for us, we can't comfortably take the final knight because our king will be quite exposed. So I think there must be something along the way which is even stronger. And in particular, if we go to this position, let's stop here. Can I go king in the corner? Because I think I need to force your rook to a7 and then go king b8.
Oh, nice.
And in this position, after king b8, white no longer has any checks. And white is a full piece down, and black has a lot of threats of their own. So this looks winning to me. This looks like this probably just concludes the game. And Yuengi is also, I believe, on 12 seconds. So if something happens that he hasn't expected, or if something happens that is just generally not great for him, there will be no time to, you know, think of a magic solution. So Shah, I think, very much on the verge of converting this into 4 points for the Chingari Gulf Titans.
Guys, Chingari Gulf Titans are having a great day on board number 2 and board number 6, where Nihal Sarin is completely winning. But at the same time, Wei and Aronian are fighting for the Triveni Continental Kings, who are completely winning. Can we have a look at the bird's eye view to have an entire synopsis of the entire game? It's heating up, guys. So basically, the entire pressure is now on board number 4.
2 knight moves, both of them are extremely bad. The first board and the second board.
Yeah.
What is this?
Knights are tricky.
I think I can explain why Duda's move is a mistake. If we briefly go to board 1, there is a very cute combination there, which I believe wins.
What is that?
I think we can take on f7.
No, that's rude.
I think we can take on f7 as far as I can see, and if the analysis board comes on, we can get here if we sacrifice on it, and then we go exactly as James is pointing out, opening up our bishop, and this creates an unparryable threat of g6. I think is stronger. Yeah, and queen f7 just cannot be stopped, and we crash through.
He just took it. Aronian just took it.
Duda is looking at the other boards, looking for some hope. There you have it, another brilliant seed, double exclamation mark. Do you see Duda looking at the other boards in a way that, let's see what my teammates are doing, because I am completely losing this one.
Sometimes you want to have a poker face, sometimes you just want to avoid. Look at this, he's shocked. He is just shocked. I don't know if he saw that and that's why he looked back, so the opponent could not read his face, or he just saw now. I really don't know, but we can see he's upset and he is losing right now.
And Levon Orionian, a very class player, and that's a very class move. And what a nice time to strike for his team when they needed the most. Maybe we can have a look at game 2. Is it over yet? It was completely winning. Let's quickly go to board number 2. That's over. That's finished.
It is over, and the Shak is a man of a day for the team.
4-0.
Open up the score with 4 points. That's a lot. But also, what a classic game, right? That was really nice.
Fans at home are going to be playing the Scandinavian. You're going to see a wave of Scandi players now. That's pretty gross.
Let's return to board number 1. Board number 1, only 4 seconds over there. Aronian completely winning. Let's see the ending of this match right here. Queen c7 has been played.
Played queen c7, creating a threat of queen h2. But queen h2 is, normally you say it's only 1 check. In fact, in this case, it's not 1 check, it's 2 checks. But it really is only 2 checks. I think the easiest, knight in the corner there is the move that ends the game.
Yes, knight h8. Ooh, that's
it gets swung over to g6, and there is mate there pretty much. Duda correctly doesn't give the second check to, if you play queen e6 here, black will have a check from h3, which is quite important, and it's probably a little bit messier than Levon wants. But you can continue removing your king from attacks here. Like king e2 is a good move. There's plenty of moves which look like they should be winning for Levon.
That is right.
Oh, I think Mamadira was 1, so that's 4-0 right now.
That's right. We're gonna fix these results in a second, but let's focus on this game, which might end in shortly. Although here Aronian has 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, and maybe he will take some of his time to convert this, but it is completely winning position for him.
Yep. So board number 1 and board number 3, Triveni Continental Kings are doing great. Board number 2, already Chingari Gulf Titans have won it. So let's do a quick roundup. So that means 4-6. Let's do a prediction, all right? 4-6. James, are you with me here?
I'm with you.
4-6. What about board number 4? Let's say it's your favorite draw.
Okay, let's go.
That's 5-7. Fifth board is draw 6-8. And last board. So it all right now. Oh my God! Look at the last board. Let's quickly zoom into last
we have
board.
To go there right
Board
now.
number 6, Nihal versus Beer. A big blunder has happened right when we saw it. Just like all of my games.
Wow, what is this?
I think the move Rook D2 E2 is very strong here. There might be something even stronger, but Rook D2 E2 looks very, very difficult to parry for white, because you cannot abandon the dark square diagonal that the queen is currently on, because that will allow black to give a check from the square James is highlighting. That will cost you a rook, and the queen actually just gets run out of squares. After Rook E2 there is, I think, no good reply at all. Queen G3, you play H4, and it looks busted. And yeah, I just don't see. I just don't see how white continues.
Keep up our ghost. It's not for some reason. There's something here, but I'm curious to know what it is here.
Well, they are playing already some.
Let's see what the moves are. Though. We do have moves coming in. Queen G5.
Queen G5 was played.
Jonas actually found a way to survive. Yeah, Queen G5 was a very clever move there by Jonas, and he is still worse. Black is still in a very dominant position. Black's pieces are just much more active than the white pieces, but he did find a way to continue fighting and not to resign immediately, which is a very important point. And elsewhere, Wei is still completely winning. Board 4 will be a draw. And on board 3, Sara is definitely better against Polina Shuvalova, but winning the position for white is not going to be very easy. So that one, I think, will go the distance, and either Sara will win or that one will be a draw.
All right. So this is the second for most of the boards, I think.
Yeah. Let's have a quick look at the final moments of board number 3. I'm sure it's going to end in a couple of moves, or maybe it's already ended. Board number 3, if we can quickly go.
This is the board Wei Dubov.
Yeah, there's no way those 4 passers are going to be stopped, James.
White
and
a somewhat unbelievable number of pawns up.
Wow.
It's currently 5, I think.
I don't think those pawns even need a queen, right? They can just defend themselves and just go ahead.
No, James, queen is stronger. You still want to prove that 9 pawns is better than
So what does that score look like so far after this matchup here? There's still some games left. Nihal's going to win as well.
Guys, huge result here. Kostynyuk and Lagno have drawn their game.
Okay.
That means entire pressure is now on the game between Shuvalova and
Sara Hadem. That's right. So we're getting games done here. This is one of the games Dubov Wei gonna end probably soon, but when the queens are still on the board, maybe this game gonna go further. Is there any game, Master Swidler, that's gonna end right away?
Not that I can see. I mean, Levon is completely winning against Duda. Duda is still continuing because it's team competition. I think if he was playing for himself, he would have resigned already. The position doesn't really look like you ever save it. Yeah, Dubov, I also am not quite sure why this game is still continuing, but I guess once again,
it's a team competition. You have to fight until the end. You guys,
so
we
you
have
don't
to go
resign.
on the last board.
6, yeah? Board 6. Quickly, let's have a look at board number 6. Nihalson is completely winning. There's a triple battery with a queen, rook, and a rook. Somewhat an Alakine's gun, it's called, if the queen was behind the rooks. I don't know, this is probably some arena's gun. From today onwards, yes, we name it something new.
On the second rank.
Jonas Bier was forced to push this pawn forward, and now Nihal creates basically an unstoppable threat of queen taking the pawn on h3, using the pin.
Wow, that's a checkmate, Peter. That's a checkmate.
Yeah.
F5 here. Let's throw that
and
on
then
the board,
queen takes
guys.
c6 is the simplest.
Whoa.
What a beautiful checkmate. The pawn cannot take the queen because it is pinned.
And here we have the players, Shaq. Here we have Katerina Lachno and
And
Alexandra
with the
Kostyuk.
2 victories on the black boards and 1 draw on board 4, Triveni has to win all the remaining games. They need to win. Livon will win. Wei Yi will win. So it all hinges basically on whether Sarah actually beats.
Checkmate! Checkmate and handshake! Actually, Jonas allowed him to make a checkmate. That's really nice move.
Yeah. All right. So now let's quickly go to board number 5, where all the match, everything depends on this match.
On there.
Everything.
On there.
The team which is going to make it and the team which is not going to make it depends on this one board, James.
We have to go right away there.
Let's go.
Guys, so
Which
far we do have 2 victors for black, and that's 4 points. For Triveni.
That's 4 to the 8 plus 1, 9. So
This
White
is definitely
winning.
improving for White, because I think Sarah can now push the F-pawn as well, and she's making a lot of progress. It's still probably not winning just yet, but it's definitely a much better position than it was 3 seconds ago. I would at some point want with White to create some luft for my king. I keep on wanting to play H3 in these types of positions, but Sarah for now is playing without that, and continuing to push.
I hope Sarah looks at the scores, looks at what's happening in the games, and realizes that it is a must-win situation for her team, and she has to take decisions accordingly. Here, she's being a little too quick. I thought in the previous move there was some kind of a mistake by Black. There was some window of, to be better for White, but she.
Samai, we see here actually 9 points versus 1. Why do you think? If you can explain to our viewers that Sarah's game is now very important.
Because now there are 2 games that are happening where White is completely winning. So give more 6 points there. So 6 plus 1 is how much? 7, right? If I'm not wrong, 6 plus 1 is 7, right?
Yes, that's true.
And then this game winning will give 3 more points.
Right, and that's how Triveni Continental Kings can win, although Sarah has to convert this game.
It's super important, and I am not sure if Sarah has taken a look at the other boards.
Seconds on the clock.
Taking time.
Barely look at the boards.
Everything depends on this match.
I think she knows that, Samai. I think she knows that. For sure she knows that. In the team competition, you play on all the boards. You play on the 6 boards.
Yeah, but sometimes you get so focused into the game, especially the end game. Right now, there are 4 pawns versus 3 pawns. So if anybody can push, it is Sarah. Plus, we have the same color bishops, which are not always a drawn endgame, right?
True.
100%.
An extra pawn.
There are some issues for White to actually handle here, but I'm definitely going to take White.
Yeah, because you also have a passer. That's it. Just 2 moves, and you're queening. I think Sarah will do it for their team.
Right. Although there is this tricky situation now. The pawn on G2 is hanging. If you play bishop to F3 to guard this, then rook comes on F2 and attacks your bishop. And be careful there. Also, your queen is hanging. So she has to deal with that. She has to deal in 25 seconds.
Whoa.
And there is another way to guard this. Rook to E2. However, there's bishop B5, which pins.
F3, defending that pawn.
Okay.
And you know what a story it would be if Sarah is able to hold this and win this game. Because she came in last moment, played 2 games. And if she can convert this, it will be such a great morale boost for her and the team.
I agree with this. Sarah just joined the team. This is her 2nd game. And we can see the other game has ended because now it's 4-9. So which game was that? On which board? Was it first board or was it
that was first board. Levon Aronian has won this game. And so has
Wei.
So has Wei Yi. That means it's the only game remaining. Both players are fantastic, talented ladies, and now they are fighting for their teams to stay in this competition, guys. It is really heating up.
Right, we can see Duda passing by the boards right now. Last game in the match, we're gonna know who gonna win this match between these teams.
A draw is also not good for Triveni Continental Kings here.
It is not enough.
They must win. So what is the way to push for a win here? Maybe Master Swidler can help us here.
I think it's going to be difficult from here, although both of them have very, very little time left, so there's plenty of scope for mistakes. But I think, in general, trading the rooks was not in White's favor because the remaining pieces, Black have a very active bishop on a very good diagonal, and a queen in the very center of the board. And potentially the king could even come over to blockade the protected.
Whoa! What a blunder!
What happened there?
Some type of huge
blunder.
blunder check.
Check.
And then
And-
maybe, well, the miss.
Maybe you had to come back to F3. Maybe you had to come back.
It was,
Oh, another blunder,
another
blunder, and
Wow.
blunder.
Wow.
Guys, this is pressure. This
Yeah,
is
the king-
pure pressure.
the
They
king-
know
the
how
king
important
needed-
this game is.
The king needed to go towards the center. The king cannot really be saved in the corner. And white now, obviously, the white queen is connected to the protection of the pawn in front of the king. Black has the battery on this diagonal. But we want to play queen to the b2 square. And
It's gonna be threatened checkmate.
yeah, check,
Oh
check.
my
But we
God.
can play queen b2 or queen d2 or queen g3 even. Yeah, that is.
G3.
This is just game over now.
Wow, what a
This is just game
turnaround.
over now, and
That's
Sarah
checkmate.
seems to be clinching it for
Wow.
her new
Queen
team.
before, queen
Amazing
before,
for
can you
team.
protect that square with
Queen before queen c7 and
Look at the players. Look at the
Wow.
players of Chingari.
Chingari
Smirk
Gulf
on
Titans
Shaq's
really
face.
happy here.
The smirk.
No, they can be out actually if
That's
Sarah
it?
wins. If Sarah
Head
wins,
shake.
they are
Oh,
out.
sorry. They're actually not
Nihal
very happy, but I
Farin.
saw Shaq
Mama-
smiling, so I thought maybe, you know.
Oh my goodness.
It's not out of happiness, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, she plays bishop e8, and queen b8 was maybe even cleaner, but what Sarah is doing is also completely and utterly winning, so...
Extra piece.
Yeah, bishop
and a
f7
pawn.
or any move, yeah.
Wow.
This is a win. She
What a
knows this
turnaround.
is a win. She has 1 minute to convert and a handshake.
Handshake, there we have it, guys.
Crazy.
The Triveni
Congratulations to
Continental
Triveni
Kings.
Continental Kings, who
Wow.
just barely
Guys.
stay in the competition with this
Yeah,
match.
That's right.
guys, each and every match for Triveni Continental Kings is as important as this was. They have to win each and every game from now. Like, they have, I think, 2 more games. There's tomorrow and day after.
That's right.
have
And
to
we have
win
to
both.
shout out to Sarah Hadam, who just joined the team, and she scored a very important point for them.
Yeah, there we have it. The Chingari Gulf Titans not looking very happy. But
Yeah, that's
that's
chess.
sports. Someone
tough.
wins, someone
Jan
loses.
Christoph Duda, Shahrir Mamadyrov, Daniel Dubov,
Yep.
Kostanuk Alexander Shvalova Polina, and Nihal Tarin. Those are the names
Yeah.
that... Who would imagine those are great names, Samai?
But that's chess, you know, someone wins, someone loses. But the best part is everyone has great food here.
Yeah.
Great food?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah,
Right,
we
the food's
surely
great.
do.
Right, the food's amazing.
We
Right.
surely do.
Man, Chingari Gulf Titans are getting eliminated there. That is crazy to even say with a squad like that. Triveni Continental Kings were able to take it. Unbelievable match.
Guys,
Sarah walking out, and we have here Triveni. Wait, hold on, guys. I said Triveni gonna win. No one applauses for that guess. Peter, where's Peter?
what a great fortune teller. Maybe you can help me with some investment ideas here. But with
I
that
might.
win, Sarah Khadem has made sure the Triveni Continental Kings are still in this fight. And guys, please let us know all your feelings by using hashtag Global Chess League on Twitter. Also, if you missed the action, don't worry. On Amazon, our official streaming partner, you can listen to this quick summary of the entire day by Master Swidler and Sagar Shah.
That's right, guys. And there was incredible match. We can see here almost dark playing venue with the lights. It's gonna get ready for another round. And don't go anywhere because we do have another match coming up and no one knows what we should expect in there. All right. I really, really love this match.
Triveni Continental Kings keep their hopes alive as they win against the Chingari Gulf Titans. And leading from the front, taking the icon board, winning a must-win game, Levon Aronian, he's joining us in the studio. He's known as the artist. Lev, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Levon, that looked like a very clean game to us. Did it feel as smooth as it looked?
Okay, I think once my opponent played a couple of inaccurate moves and I got my knight to f5, then it's unpleasant. But before that, you know, it's the opening. So the opening phase, I thought before, I wasn't sure it's a good move, but it looked interesting.
And there was this beautiful blow that came with your knight when you took the pawn in front of the king. At that moment, were you sure of victory?
Yeah, so I had about 3 minutes, so I just thought, you know, just to cautiously calculate all of the lines, and it seemed that there was no counterplay for him, so I was sure I was winning, yeah.
Sagar, that was an amazing game.
Yeah, that was fantastic, Levon, because this was a very important encounter for your team. If you lose any of the matches, you are out from the tournament, from the top 2 spots. So what was your message to the team going into the round? Was there a lot of pressure on your team?
We just told ourselves we haven't been playing well, so we should take it one match at a time, you know, so and see how it goes. We're so down on points, so we don't even have any chances for tie breaks. So we should just win every single match, but one match at a time. Let's see how it goes.
And today, Lav, it did go on really well. Let's bring up our scoreline as the Triveni Continental Kings won their match. And there we have it. 2 wins by the Chingari Gulf Titans, 3 for the Triveni Continental Kings. Lev, there was a moment when the Chingari Gulf Titans were up on 2 boards. Their games were over. They'd already won 2 matches, and your 3 games were on. Does this affect the decisions that you take on the board, knowing the match situation?
Well, I saw early on that Yu Yangi was down on time, and the position was very complicated, so I thought, you know, I really don't have any choice. I mean, it's not the type of a position that I actually can, you know, play safely because the team is in trouble. So, and I mean, fortunately for me, my play didn't really require anything out of the ordinary, so I didn't mess this one up.
Far from it, Lev.
Yeah, you know, Levon, Triveni Continental Kings have been put under various challenges. One of them was Nana Zagnidze had to pull out from the event. Sara Khadem joined in, and today she was the one who actually gave that critical win for the team. Must have been very special.
Oh, absolutely. You know, she's a very nice and sweet person, and we were, of course, upset about Nana not being feeling well, but we're very lucky to have a strong replacement. So it keeps our chances alive. So we're very grateful to have this opportunity to have a replacement.
Yeah. A great win there by Sara Kadem. Let's take a look at where the teams stand after this match that we've just witnessed. And there we have it. The leaderboard, the SG Alpine Warriors at the top. The Ganges Grandmasters will be playing next. They are on 2nd position. And with that win, the Triveni Continental Kings do leapfrog the Chingari Gulf Titans. Lev, to talk about the team championship and the Global Chess League. In the chess world, you're known as a team player. You've had some amazing Olympiads with the Armenian national teams, and it's always such a pleasure to watch. What has the experience been like here with this global team and mix of players?
It's tough. I can say that, you know, mix of players, mix of characters, and I am trying to do my best, but, you know, it's difficult because you barely know the people. So it will take some time to bond, definitely. But one thing that is important for us generally that the team owner loves chess, and he's been part of the chess scene for a long time, and it gives a special kind of emotion, you know, when people actually care so much about what you're doing.
You know, Levon, we saw that Triveni Continental Kings practicing every day outside in the tournament hall after the day is over. There have been several days. Is that one way to bond the team?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I've been absent for a couple of days, but today I'm coming back. I was just upset about our play. I said, okay, no more. Maybe this is the problem, that we are having too much fun. But I think we definitely need to practice, play some bullet, and that's what we're gonna do tonight with Yu Yangi. He beat me last time in a very brutal fashion, so now it's my time to strike back.
Oof. Looking for that revenge, loving it. Lev, you're truly known as one of the most creative players on the board. You're an artist at heart. And I want to ask you about a game that happened yesterday, because it's what the world is talking about, between Magnus and Vishy. You definitely followed that game.
Absolutely.
I would love to get your thoughts on it.
Well, it was a very, very interesting game, with many strategical ideas. And Magnus is always fighting for the win and, under promoting this. I mean, what else you want? I mean, what are you going to ask for? This is as good as it gets. And I am happy to be a part of it.
It felt like a romantic game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very romantic.
Thank you so much, Lev, for sharing your thoughts. And we will be back with more action. We really appreciate it, and all the best for the remaining rounds.
Thank you very much.
Wow, and there on our screens, the legend Vishy Anand, as he gets ready to take on the Barden Alaskan Knights. We will have more action once we come back from this short break. Don't go anywhere. A big moment at the Tech Mahindra Global Chess League as the Vishy Anand-led Ganges Grandmasters take on Yana Pomnishi's Balan Alaskan Knights. This match means everything for our leaderboard, a critical moment in the situation, and joining us in the studio is Grandmaster Salim and International Master Sagar Shah. Salim, we saw Vishy there in the dugout. What do you think is going on in his mind right now?
Yeah, it's very interesting because Vishy was playing overall very well. Of course, yesterday he had tough loss against Magnus. Also, he's playing Nepo, who didn't score a single win. I just noticed, and Nepo has the white pieces. So it will be interesting what will happen there.
And the Ganges Grandmasters have been on top of the leaderboard since the start. Right now, they're on second position. Salim, what does Balan Alaskan Knights need to do to take over this one?
Well, it's okay. It's they have to play good games now. I don't know what to suggest. Yeah.
Sagar, what do you expect as match strategy from them?
I think Nepo has to strike today on the top board because Vishy has the black pieces. Also, he lost his game yesterday. So Nepo would be looking at this opportunity for himself playing with white. On the other hand, Nadirbek Abdusattarov is a very strong player on board number 2 for Balan Alaskan Knights. And also Temur Rajabov is facing a tough opponent in Dominguez. But I think these top 3 boards need to strike today for the Balan Alaskan Knights.
It's going to be all about team strategy, dynamics, and what their match approach will be. Salim, you mentioned yesterday the action that we witnessed. You called out the game. Vishy Anand losing to Magnus Carlsen, but at least there's solace that was a big fight, and Vishy played incredible chess.
Yeah, I mean, the game itself was very nice. It could be an inspiration for a player, but it also can affect you sometimes. Of course, Vishy is a very experienced player, and he might just be over it quickly. I also want to mention that Raunak won an important game in the previous match. Maybe he will have a different tournament now.
Raunak Sadhwani with turning the tide around. Sagar, he did struggle in the beginning, but he mentioned that rest day was critical to find his balance.
Yeah, and Raunak is a person who really, if the momentum is flowing on his side, he starts to do really well. And I think he was instrumental in his team winning the last match. So he will be high on confidence. Also, the women boards are of the same nationalities. You know, you have 2 Chinese women players facing each other and 2 Georgian boards. Last time it was Tan Zhongyi who beat Ho Yifan, and I think Ho Yifan will be looking for her revenge at this point. So very interesting matchups.
Juicy matchups, top to bottom, 6 fighting boards, a big one for both these teams. And before we get to business, it's time to have a little fun as Samir Raina asks some interesting questions to our players.
We're doing a quick rapid fire round. You have to be honest and be quick, alright? Who's your favorite chess player of all time?
Mikhail Tal, that's my grandfather.
Magnus Carlsen.
All time it's really Magnus.
Bobby Fischer. Adley Magnus.
Fischer.
Korchnoi maybe.
If chess was banned today, what would you be doing?
I guess it'll be some sport.
I would be an opera singer.
I guess studying or this.
Bodybuilding. You can see it right here.
Probably something connected with arts.
What's your favorite chess opening from white and why?
I like Tramposki because I think it's one of the underrated opening.
Only London system. It's very simple to play.
Queen's Gambit.
Okay, just for social media, 1v3.
The London defense.
Maybe London.
If you could play a game of chess with anybody from the past, who would it be and why?
I would play a game with Terence Hill because he's my favorite actor. Maybe Alexander Alekhine.
Fischer.
Brothers.
I guess Fischer.
Probably Samay Reina.
If you could remove one rule from chess, what would it be?
Castling.
Castling.
Maybe no castling, yeah, like
Draw offer? What's the best advice you've ever received as a chess player?
Stop worrying about the results, worry about the work that produces the result.
And not to go all out in all the games.
Not to think about the result during the game.
If you could time travel, which era would you go to and why?
Maybe like 100 years ago.
Fischer,
Sometime before like 90s or 2000.
around 1970s.
So probably the future. I would just go to the future.
Can you summarize Global Chess League in one word?
Revolution.
It's the start.
Yeah, exciting. Global.
Unique. Innovative.
Exciting?
Bigger than World Championship. All together. Like put it all together. So like bigger than World Championship. That's the word.
That was very, very interesting and funny. Samay with all those very nice questions to the players. Salem, this Global Chess League is happening in your home country, the UAE. It is the biggest chess event that's going on right now. What does it mean for UAE chess, and how do you see it impacting the young generation out here?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's not only for UAE. In general, the league is introducing a lot of interesting ideas. I've been also speaking with Mr. Samir, who has incredible ideas for the future. It's out of the box. It will be new for chess, but I think it's gonna be very interesting. Of course, with so many people watching and following all the stars here, I think it will make chess much more popular here in UAE.
Yeah, truly a big move, the Tech Mahindra Global Chess League. And now it's time to get the moves on the board as we see the players walking out. Jan Nepomniachtchi there, looking confident, and right behind him, his antagonist for today, world champion Vishy Anand. And we are getting an update that the Balan Alaskan Knights, they start with the white pieces, Sagar.
Right, and you can see that the players look pretty relaxed. There you could see Rajabov and Rapport actually talking to each other. So, you know, while there is rivalry, there's also friendship between them. They have been playing chess with each other for so many years.
But for the next 1 hour, that friendship is out of the window because it's all about getting your best chess and winning the games. Let's take a look at our big matchups that are coming up. It is going to be the icons facing each other as Jan Nepomniachtchi plays with the white pieces against Vishy Anand. We also see in the Prodigy board, Andrei Asipenko will be taking on Ranek Sadhwani. World champion Hu Yufan against world champion Tan Zhongyi. Two world champions fighting each other. This will be a fun fight. Big chess coming up on the other side of this break.
Welcome everyone to the big matchup of today, the Ganges Grandmasters led by Vishy Anand and the Balan Alaskan Knights with the Yan Nepomniachtchi. This is going to be a match that we are all going to be on our edge of our seats following it. And joining me are two wonderful commentators, Ketty Satsalashvili and Jesse February. Hi guys, how are you feeling?
Hello. Wow, Sagar, we have such a big expectation for this round because the previous match was such an incredible, what a fighting match. We want the same, if not more.
Absolutely, and I think today is going to be Yan Nepomniachtchi going all out with the white pieces against Vishy. Yesterday was an amazing encounter between Vishy and Magnus. Jesse, do you think we'll see a decisive game today on the top board?
Well, given how exciting yesterday's game was, I can only hope and tell that today will be even more exciting. I mean, the closer we get to the end, I think maybe the more nervous the players are getting. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. And also the Ganges Grandmasters have some leeway here. They are on second spot. So even if they lose this match, oh my God, it's the Karokan defense by Vishy Anand.
Yay, let's go. I love Karokan. I do love Karokan. I'm so happy.
Yes,
I'm very happy.
but you know, I'm very surprised because Vishy generally likes to play e4, e5. He likes to play solid chess. Why did he, out of the blue might not be the right term, but why did he play the Karokan today?
Surprise the opponent. Nepomniachtchi has no enough time now to understand what's going on. He just plays what he remembers, but he was not expecting this, Jesse, that Anand would play.
Yeah, my one question is actually to Sagar. So you're saying the Karokan is not a solid choice?
I mean, you play the Karokan generally when you want to play for imbalanced position, right?
I love Karokan, and it has such an image that it has somewhere like drawish. You want to make a draw with that, but it is a very solid opening, guys. It is truly very solid.
Yeah,
opening.
we saw Magnus Carlsen also play the French. I'd love to know, would you rather play the French or the Karokan?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, and I think both these openings you generally play when you want to get a sharp position, when you want to fight for the full point. And
They're
I think
cousins,
that's what
in a way. They're very similar cousins, relatives.
Right, so this one is going to be very interesting. Of course, both the players still in their preparation. Vishy gets his knight out, and generally in such positions, black will develop the knight here, the queen will come up, and you could also long castle. But there are also ideas to short castle. We will see which way Vishy goes because both of them have very different plans and ideas.
That's true, and it's worth it to mention that Vishy Anand is one of the few players who have the great performance at this tournament. Out of 7 games that has played before, he has 4.5 points, as well as Magnus Carlsen. Wow. And he is playing on the icons board, first board. This is so tough to win on this board.
Right. Vishy has shown absolutely no rustiness. People know that he's playing after 8 months in this tournament, but he's shown some high quality chess, which just goes to show that the man has such brilliant chess foundation. You know, he's so good. No matter when he comes back, he's right at his top level.
Right. And could we have maybe the opinion of Peter Svidler as well?
On this opening? Yeah, that would be amazing to have.
Master Svidler.
Master Svidler.
Hello, everyone. And yeah, when I started playing against Vishy, which was by this point close to 30 years ago, he was very much a Karokan player. Absolutely his repertoire opening. You could pretty much count on him playing it. But then he switched to other things, and these days he doesn't play it very often. And there already has been a bit of an interesting little side plot in this particular game, because Jan, and I'm pretty sure he's doing this on purpose, not because he misremembered something, chose not to push his h-pawn 1 square further, because normally you get this very same position with the h-pawn already on h5, and Jan chose not to include that, which is quite rare. And I am very curious to see exactly why he feels this is a better option than sort of the universally accepted strategies that people choose against this particular system. Elsewhere in the match, we have also a very deep theoretical discussion on board 3, just as I had in the first round. Linier Dominguez is playing a very fashionable topical line against Timur Rajabov, where Timur will be the only player who has any winning chances for the rest of the game, pretty much. But I think it's considered to be okay for Black these days. So I assume Linier knows how to equalize there. And some very fighting positions on the lower boards. Plenty of play left there. So a very intricately poised match so far.
Thank you, Master Swidler, for those insights. Very interestingly mentioned by him that 30 years ago he played against Vichy. I mean, what a
Jesse
great-
should remember this. Jesse should remember this, right, Jesse?
Oh wow, Kitty.
talking how young you are, Jesse.
Oh, of course, I remember 30 years ago like it was yesterday. And yeah, I can only assume that the board 3, if we see like maybe the bird's eye view here,
Let's have
that
the
the
6
game
boards on our screen, and then we could take a look at board number 3, because that one is quickly getting into a lot of theory there.
Right,
I was
we have
gonna
this
ask.
too. Yeah.
that maybe this is the game that'll end first, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to also say. We have queens off the board, and we have also 2 minor pieces off the board. But according to these 2 gentlemen here, look at them. They are so deep in this position. I think they have different plans here. They want to keep it going. And the current situation is very important. So Ganja's Grandmasters, they are leading, but they are not at the first position. They want to overtake Alpine Warriors. And then we have Balan Alaskan Knights. They need to get somewhere on the top boards, right? For the moment, they're okay.
Yes.
It's just okay, but not fighting for the top boards. We can see both of the players looking at something. What is that board?
They are looking at the other screens and just thinking whether they should sort of end this in a draw, because you know, this opening has been seen numerous times in the last couple of years since the boom of online chess, and we have seen Wesley So being one of the biggest exponents of it. Then Magnus Carlsen has picked it up, Anish Giri. So many top players played with the black pieces to equalize here, and I have never seen black having any troubles in this opening. So it definitely has to be asked as to why Rajabov went here. Does he have any new ideas? But maybe he just wanted a solid game.
Let's try it. Maybe he has a tough tournament, and in the end, he wants to just hold on this board. And Sagar, you mentioned there is very important matchups between Chinese players on the women board and Georgian players between, and it's so personal, these 2 boards. I can tell you guys.
So let's zoom out from this board. We most likely might see a draw here, especially with Dominguez being such a great theoretician. And if we can have a look at the 5th board and get Ketty to commentate on what she thinks, because it's the 2 Georgian players facing off against each other. Ketty,
It's Georgian.
Oh no!
Are they your friends?
They are very good friends, and they have played alongside each other in the team for many years, guys, and they have won Olympiad together. Chess Olympiad is the biggest event you can win, and they won a couple of team competitions. But in the end of the day, chess is also individual chess competition, sport, and they have played, I think, 100 games at least against each other, which is not in the database, but we play daily. So my point is that they know each other very well.
Who do you think would have a plus score against each other?
I would say it will be more like even score rather than 2+. It can be minus plus something, but very even players.
Right, and right now, White is sort of lagging behind in development. You can see the Black King has castled it out. White has moved her same piece again, and it's been quite an ambitious bit of try by Nino Batsiashvili. She wants to get the knight and then finish her development and castle it out.
She's taking the bishop, and she gets bishop advantage. Although Zagar, he spent 3 moves for that bishop.
Right. This is actually going to be quite risky here strategy, but the bishop pair does mean quite a bit, and also White has a lot of space in the position. So I quite like Nino's position here.
I was actually going to ask, I mean, now that the pawns are sort of static, on the C file they cannot move, on the D file they cannot move. Would you prefer having the bishop pair And how would white go about sort of opening this position even more? Or
Ooh,
what do you
that's a
think the
good
plan
question.
would be?
Yes, it could be that white just develops the pieces, puts her queen up, and could even long castle in such a position and then hurl the pawns down on the king side. That could be an idea. It all depends on how ambitious Nino is. But even if she just puts a bishop here and short castles, I would definitely feel that white has a small edge here.
Right, and another thing, the good thing about pair of bishop advantage is that you can give it away, you can trade it for the knight the moment you want. So that's the big power indeed. And white can just go right now, bishop on the side of the black's pieces and take that knight if she decides so. So I would also choose here white's pieces because of this beautiful center and the space here in the pair of bishop and some potential plans here that you can start this kingside attack. But on the other hand, black has these beautiful knights jumping over on the board. Maybe knight will develop the one which is not developed yet and will go towards the center. That looks also interesting. However, there are more interesting situations on the other boards. Let's bring the bird's eye view and pick another game that we can focus on.
Yeah, let's have a look at the boards right now. If we look at the bars, all are right in the center, which means the match is very evenly poised. Maybe a good time to go to our prodigy board, board number 6, between Raunak Sadhwani and Andrei Esipenko. Very, very exciting game. I think this generally leads to bloody fights because these youngsters are always such fighters.
They are not afraid. They are not scared. They are taking everything as their challenge. They don't want to win all the games, obviously. What do you guys think? Jesse, what do you think about this knight on d3?
I love that fighting spirit. And you know, they actually call this knight the octopus because it has 8 different squares it can go to.
Wow.
The knight
Look at this.
is so beautifully
So
positioned
strong.
here, and it can control all the critical squares. I think that really gives Andrei Esipenko good chances. But at the same time, I really like the fact that white does not have any bad pieces. The knight is well placed here, while the bishop on c8 is slightly blocked by its own pawn.
That's right.
Yeah, I like this f5 move, just consolidating that center and protecting the pawn in the center there on that e4 square.
Right, maybe it's a good time to ask Master Peter Swidler what he thinks about this complex position here. Master.
I think it's definitely the messiest position of the match so far. I'm struggling to form a coherent opinion about it. That knight on d3 looks very, very attractive, but structurally I would prefer white. White has, I think, a sounder pawn structure. Having to make the last move that Andrei made, moving the f-pawn 2 squares forward, also made his king somewhat unsafe. So this is a very complicated position. It's difficult for me to come to any kind of an immediate conclusion. And in the meantime, on board 5, something that Katie was talking about, that there are conservative and very aggressive options. One of those was chosen, and it wasn't a conservative one, for which I think we're all very grateful, because this looks to be a full-blooded fight after Nino's last choice.
We have to get the board 5 on the screen, as it's gonna escalate very fast. Like,
Yeah.
the attack is started already.
Let's have a look at what did Nino actually play here, because we were thinking about what is her approach going to be in this position. Nino says, I'm going all out. My rook is on the H file. My pawn is going to push forward. My bishop is controlling this square. Jesse, I think this is going to be a big fight here.
Yeah, I love how we could see from the big camera as well. That H-pawn is running up the board. That Harry the H-pawn is coming. And now the knight's going to protect. It has gone to that H7 square near the king. It's also on the side of the board. What is black's plan here?
Well, I'm pretty sure she's preparing to meet... white wants to open up files on the king side, and black quite clearly decided that that's not in her best interests. So yeah, she will play the pawn forward, not allowing the white rook to come into play so easily. But positionally, this is obviously a very big commitment, because your knight, as you were saying, is now definitely misplaced. It's not such a great square for it. And the pawn that black just moved forward will be a target. So perhaps now, Yeah, they were
Oh, she
basically.
goes king to f1,
Mhm.
Peter, not castling.
Yeah, I think she feels quite safe just having the king on f1. You could definitely consider playing something like develop the bishop, put the queen on c2, and just castle queenside and proceed from there. But I think she's quite happy just playing the move that she played. The light squared bishop can now safely go to d3. The queen can come out to perhaps f3. This is also a setup which looks quite aggressive, and yeah, this promises to be a very exciting fight. I like white, but black is not defenseless, because one of the things that black achieved by moving the knight away, apart from preventing the opening of the position in front of her king, is also freeing up the f6 square for the bishop. So you can now put the black bishop on the long diagonal where it controls a lot of important squares and perhaps creates some potential counterplay. This is looking very promising for the spectators. But objectively, I think should be good for white.
As long as this king f1 was not a mouse slip.
Yeah, that was some great insights there by Master Swidler. I think this is great news for the Balan Alaskan Knights, the way Nino is playing this, because if she manages to create some chances for her team, that would be very, very important. The Ganges Grandmasters are a very solid unit.
That's right. Have won almost every single matches. They have only lost 2 matches. Is that right?
Right.
And yeah, so far we consider them as one of the two top teams which gonna qualify in the finals. So, oh, what a day! Today is a day, you know, guys.
Definitely.
We have one of the teams out from the competition, and now this is also getting into some shape.
Indeed, and as I can see here in the standings, if the Ganges Grandmasters do win the match, they would be tied and match points with the SG Alpine Warriors. But it looks like they need a 6-0 victory in order to just tie on game points. But at least they're solidifying, well, if they win, solidifying their spot as second place for now.
Right. Absolutely. I doubt if they'll get a 6-0 victory today in the match. It's going to be way closer than that. How about we sort of zoom out from here and go to board number 2, because that is the board where we are having the battle between 2 of the biggest fighters in the world of chess, Nodirbek Abdusattorov and Richard Rapport. And I think this game might also see some huge action because they have chosen the Sicilian.
It never goes wrong with Sicilian, you know. You always have sharp positions, a lot of tactics, and these 2 players, it suit their character quite well.
Absolutely. And for the time being, I really like White's position, especially because this bishop on the long diagonal is very well placed. But, you know, Black has no problems. Black's king is safe, has nice structure, the rooks are connected. It seems like both players are happy as of now.
Yeah, that seems fine. Only one thing which Black might be questioning is light square bishop being somewhere, you know, in the middle of nowhere. This bishop needs to find a good square. Jesse, what do you think? Where this bishop should go?
Yeah, it doesn't know what its future may hold. Does it go to college? Will it have a job? Will it start a family? You don't really know. But I think, yeah, obviously I understand maybe like the basic rules in the Sicilian, having, you know, some queenside advancement usually for black. But here we see that white has the pawns on b3 and c4. So maybe my understanding is actually incorrect. What do you think White's plans are here?
Yeah, I think mainly White has to maintain the space that he has. And if at the right time he can get the control of this d6 square, that could be something. But how to do it? Not so easy. Maybe you switch your knight from here to here, could be an idea. And there you have it. The bishop takes the long diagonal. I think Nodirbek has just the kind of position that he likes. You know, keep playing. Don't worry about who's better. We'll see. We'll take it into the long end game here.
Yeah, it looks like he decided what to do with the light square bishop, black at least. I'm wondering if black could have played bishop c6 instead, so on that long diagonal instead of bishop.
That's very interesting idea, but you are giving up the
yeah, you're
bishop.
giving it up.
I don't think that Rapport wanted to give that bishop up. And as you said, Jesse, the bishop doesn't know what it wants to do right now. Park it at the side of the board, get your other
Ooh.
pieces into the game, and the knight is actually looking at this nice little square.
Ooh, wow. You know, guys, there is this situation when crocodiles are going into the water and they're getting frozen, and they're waiting for their season to come out, and then the ice is melting and they're coming out in the springtime. So to me, this is a crocodile bishop on
Bishop as a crocodile there.
Yes,
Ooh.
always.
That's a great analogy.
For the moment, it's frozen now here, but in the end game where the pieces are off the board, this bishop will see some daylights for sure. It's not bad bishop. It's just a frozen crocodile like a bishop.
So it's a hibernating bishop, and now finally I have an excuse as to why my bishop is always inactive in the French. It is just hibernating, guys. It'll come out in the spring.
It is.
Well, one board that we haven't seen at all yet is board number 4 between Ho Yifan and Tan Zhongyi. Maybe we can quickly have a look at that to know what's happening. Board number 4, if we can have a look at that game. 2 top
Zhongyi.
Chinese players.
Right, Tan Zhongyi on the board, on the screen. She is the active player. She has played a lot of competitions, even qualified to the candidates finals. And we have Ho Yifan, the strongest female grandmaster from China. And guys, where is the pawn from H7? Where is it? Like usually you have a pawn here.
Yeah.
Like, where's Waldo?
But the thing is, the engine suggests that the position is equal, although white is a healthy pawn up. Maybe it's a good time to go to our master swindler and try to understand why does the engine prefer black's position even though they are materially down.
Well, black is slightly better developed and white still has a king in the center. I was also wondering about that because it is a very healthy pawn. And if you imagine white just making a move here and castling, I think white is borderline winning. But it is black to move. I think we have to choose between attacking the queen with the rook or starting with knight c5. Knight c5 also looks very, very interesting, creating some ideas in the center and also denying the white queen some squares. But I think it's probably it's a very concrete position. I don't want to guess. If you attack the queen with the rook, I think the best square for the queen is to go to b5 because we don't want that queen to be attacked by that knight on d7. So I think that's the only square really we can choose which doesn't allow black to continue chasing our queen in any kind of a meaningful way. It is honestly a little bit surprising to me that the evaluation bar likes this for black as much as it does. I would be quite worried, but I'm sure the reason for it is that we can use the fact that white hasn't really finished development yet to our advantage. And you do have to play very precisely, and you do have to play quite quickly, not in a sense of making moves quickly, but in a sense of creating counterplay and creating threats basically with every decision here, or we will not have enough here with black.
Right, guys, there is very interesting situation on board 2 up to Saturov and Richard Rapport. Something is going on over that board.
Check that out.
And we need to check it out. Even we're gonna see very soon the boards, the digital board on our screen, and you guys, we're gonna see that the evaluation bar is in the middle. Today, I think they just retired. The eval bar is not working today in the second game because look at the last move here.
Honestly, I'm starting to suspect you might just be right because we have all 6 positions being declared as equal by the evaluation bar, and some of them do look equal and some don't look equal at all.
Yeah.
So
a coffee break, I think.
Yeah, it may have taken a bit of a tea break there, and hopefully will return at some point. And yeah, this looks quiet, but 3 moves later, it will not look quiet at all, the game between Naribek Abdusatorov and Richard Rapport. Richard started chasing the white bishop, and now Naribek launches this very nice tactical attack by playing knight takes pawn. And there is a number of captures that are available to black. The simplest one to explain would be what happens if the queen takes the knight. Then we play bishop to d5 and we win this.
It's working, guys.
And
it's
now
working.
it's working. Yeah.
Now, yeah.
Maybe it is equal everywhere. I would be a bit shocked, but who knows? So this loses. And the other thing is, if let's say after the move that Nuremberg played here, we trade queens and we take the white bishop in the center of the board, white recaptures the bishop on g7, and the knight is very vulnerable on e5. Also looks horrible for black. So you have to do something smarter. The queen trade happened in the meantime.
Yeah, they did trade the queens, and I think Nodirbek is looking pretty strong in this position now with the ability to take this bishop and then the knight hanging here.
Yeah, I think maybe what Richard is trying to calculate is after the queen trade is completed, you can make an intermediate move for black as well if you put f takes e3 on the board. We can take with the knight, we can take on c4. Just basically trying to sell this knight's life for as dearly as possible. But I don't see this as being equal either, because white will take the knight, we will trade the dark squared bishops, we will pick up the bishop on the e4 square, but our b7 pawn is still hanging, and this doesn't look remotely equal to me. So I am currently struggling to figure out exactly how Richard is supposed to react to this. I like white's position quite a bit.
Wow. So this means Nodirbek Abdusattarov doing pretty well for his team right now. The Balan Alaskan Knights are pawn up in Ho Yifan versus Shanzhongi versus Ho Yifan. Nino Batsiashvili is on the attack. Nodirbek is doing well. It seems like they are coming out strong today.
Ooh, that's what they need in the game of Batsiashvili Hotenashvili. This is the below line in the middle. We can see that Nino decided to bring all the pieces on the third rank and up because she wants to go all in here.
That, yeah.
And you can see these two rooks beautifully placed on the third ranks.
They're both ready to lift here.
Yeah.
Well,
somewhere.
yeah. If you see
Where's the party?
Where's the party?
Yeah, I guess we could go to, which board shall we go to? We could go to the icon board and have a look at Vichy and Nepo, or we could go to Batsiashvili versus Khotenashvili. If we go to there, that one? Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
I like it. Yeah, let's do it. Because I'm seeing some amazing space advantage for white, and white
So let's
just
go to
played
board number 5.
And here we have both players from Georgia facing each other in this round. And we saw Bella withdraw the queen back. One more piece goes back rank. But it's not something that she has like lost position or anything. It's just Nino has just space advantage, which these pieces are creating.
Yeah, I hate this feeling of, you know, you have the space, it just feels like you're better, and there's just no way to sort of find an advantage or convert. I'm wondering if she's thinking, okay, I'm clearly better here.
Well,
or
I
comfortable.
see the face of Master Swidler. He really wants to help you.
Okay, there we go. That's brilliant.
I sort of agree, to be honest, because it looks fantastic for white. You could make an argument for every single white piece being better than its black counterpart, apart from maybe that reasonably active rook that Nino is now offering to trade off. Another reason for the move she just made, if we put that move back, it's important to note that black were threatening to play g5, g4, and the rook on f3 would not have any good squares at all. So apart from trying to trade away the one active piece black has on the queen side, the move Nino just played gives her own rook an additional square on e3, which is quite valuable for the reason I just mentioned. This looks like white is in complete control, but you still have to find a way in. I will say, though, that with the trade that just happened on the queen side, the black pawn on the very left side of the board, if, let's say, we imagine black somehow surviving until the endgame, even the endgames now are potentially very, very dangerous because that pawn will be quite weak. So I think the only question here is just how much better Nino is. There is no argument to be made for her not being better.
Yeah, right. That's a very good point. And I think now Nino's plan is to get her attention to the other side of the board on the queen side, where is this one weakness, and try to capture that. And look at black's pieces being squeezed there, knights fighting for the same spot. And like, for instance, a knight which is on h7 next to the king, it has no square to go.
That black is low on space, but the pieces are getting traded off, and it feels like black has this one square where its knight can keep on revolving. So I don't think it's such a bad position here for black.
You stay low on space, but also low on time. There's 8 minutes versus 2 minutes there.
Oh, there's something.
Yeah, and I was actually wondering, maybe there was a chance for actually Bella or not Bella rather, but Tiashvili to avoid exchanging pieces and keep that pressure on the board, because I feel like the more pieces there are on the board, maybe there's more to think about, and the longer she'll go into time trouble even more.
But now she has kept the knight on the board. Let's quickly jump to our icon board. On board number 1, we have Yan Nepomniachtchi and Vishy Anand playing this endgame, which is looking very, very even right now. Both sides have 2 knights and 6 pawns on each side. However, in such endgames, you can be a little bit worried about this outside majority, like the queen side majority. White has 3 pawns here, black has 2, and also the king might start coming up here. It could become a little bit worrisome for Vishy.
Yeah, seems like the moment you pointed out all these small details, which can really happen here, is not something that you need to calculate so deep for it. It's just a natural move. You want to activate your king in the center and then start to push the pawns. That sounds really good. What black should do here? How black should counterplay here?
I think Vishy just knows the right way of doing it. He's removed his knight, and maybe he is planning to also start pushing his king side pawns here in this position. This might be around even, guys. Maybe we should go to another position, and maybe we should go to our junior board on board number 6 between Andre and Esipenko. Clearly, it seems like the bars have stopped working today, right?
Yeah, come on, bar, engine bar.
As soon as I took a seat.
Crushed it. Yeah. So this is the last board, right?
Yeah, and Andre Esipenko just played the pawn forward. Is he sacrificing the pawn? What happens if white captures this pawn?
Right. So for the time being, it seems like Jesse mentioned that Raunak can take this pawn, but he actually moved the rook. Moved the rook up there, and Raunak is a pawn down.
Yeah, this one looks very promising, I think, for the Ganges Grandmasters. It's arguably maybe the most promising position they have. The match currently looks very favorable for the Balan Alaskan Knights, with Jan having maybe not a lot, but definitely some pressure against Vishy on board 1. Noribek Abdusatorov is clearly better against Richard Rapport on board 2. Board 3, I think, either has already finished in a draw or will finish in a draw soon. But Tanjanvi seems to be doing quite well against Hoifan. Nino Batsashvili is much better on board 5. And the only board I can see where Ganges Grandmasters have a legitimate winning chance, if I were to look for such a board right this moment, is board 6, where Andrei Esipenko is currently a pawn up, and he also has this majority of pawns on the king side, and his last move, the very short move, queen back 1 square, is aimed very clearly at trying to push a 5f4. If that move happens, I think white gets completely overrun. I think the white king probably does not recover from those threats. So Raunak has to play very, very carefully not to allow that. But black still, I think, feels very much in control here.
Thank you so much, Master Swidler here. And joining us in the commentary panel, we have the very strong Grandmaster Salem. Salem, yesterday you were here. There were fireworks. Today, do you think that there are any fireworks that will happen with you joining in?
Yes, I think there is still, as Master Swidler said, Game 6 looks very interesting. And yeah, some of the games are without much pieces, but yeah, Game 6 is very interesting, I think.
Right, Game 6 looking firmly in Esipenko's favor. Jesse, what are your thoughts?
I was gonna say, Kitty, your voice sounds kind of funny. Yeah. No, I definitely want to take a look at that game. I was wondering, while, Master Swidler was talking about the position, I was wondering if white can actually avoid the pawn pushes on the king side. What does white do there?
Very important question here with Andre actually threatening to push his pawns down the board. Will this be possible to stop? Because clearly a big threat is the pawn coming forward. And no, first, there have been a couple of moves. Raunak actually played his rook up. Then the bishop came in, defending that pawn. The queen came here. And now he sacrificed a pawn.
Yeah, he just pushed the pawn twice. I mean, before,
This
I believe.
this looks very, very strong. The point being that if you take with the pawn, I think black basically wins by attacking the rook with the bishop. We play bishop a6, and suddenly the bar is working. And if the rook moves one square up, which really is the only square it has, now we are winning by pushing f5, f4, and that fork collects a lot of material. So c3 looks very, very strong.
Can take with the queen, right?
Yeah, but then we're allowing f4.
Maybe queen f4 is
Yeah,
the move.
I think you probably, Salim is completely right. You probably have to look for some fans. But then bishop a6
anyway.
Bishop a6
Yes.
anyway is extremely painful. But it is arguably the best chance, and Raunak goes
all
for
the
it.
action. This is exactly what's happening on the board.
Yes,
Yeah.
the rook c2,
Yeah.
which gets out of the line of the bishop.
Maybe rook c2, then you know the rook on b8 at the end of the line will be hanging. So
Yeah.
this might be important detail. This is
So,
maybe
yeah,
how white
Raunak
is holding.
trying to solve his problems tactically, but it feels like maybe I can play queen f6 here. It feels like there should be a win for black. You still need to calculate it quite cleanly. And yeah, he goes queen f6. I think knight h5 is probably the only shot here for white, because you need to start shaking the black pieces away from good squares. Otherwise, the threat of the bishop coming into the d3 square is just too strong. I don't think you can even continue if you don't play knight h5 here. But I am so far struggling to find an immediate victory against knight h5, which is a bit unknown. Maybe queen g5 is strong there.
Raunak, for the time being, is under big pressure here. He needs to find a good move for himself, because Andrei Esipenko is really playing amazingly well right now. The match is well poised at 1-1, and he's thinking about what to play here.
Yeah, it's not easy. Actually, black is 2 pawns up, so any endgame, of course, the bishop is also favoring black. So changing queens is also an idea, giving up the b pawn, which looks very dangerous, but black has other advantages as well.
Right, right. I want to quickly draw your attention to the icon board, because that is where some big action has taken place, and we have a huge imbalance there.
Yeah.
Knight endgame with 4 pawns on each side. Nepo has just captured a pawn right in the center. Does this look very dangerous for Vishy Anand?
Yeah, it looks very dangerous, and especially that this will be another race. So we might have some very interesting endgame again by Vishy.
And
Absolutely,
Vishy
yeah.
there capturing the pawns. Yes, Master Swidler, what are your
One
thoughts?
thing you have to keep in mind when watching endgames like this is that 2 knights do not win against the bare king. So if Vishy manages to exchange everything on the king side, if there is no pawns left on the king side, even 2 knights and 2 pawns against 2 knights is at least going to be difficult to win, and might actually be a draw. Although probably not from the very beginning. And this is why Vishy, I think, went for this. But yeah, this is not fun. This is not fun for him at all, because he will have to defend very, very carefully. White has the 2 connected passers on the queen side, and yeah, Vishy is scraping for a draw here.
And Sagar, you know that often it happens when you want to give up your knights, because if white will have 2 knights, and in some positions against 1 pawn, white can still mate. So it's sometimes difficult to give up your pawns. Yeah, that might be tricky as well.
Exactly.
That is a very good point, yeah.
This position, Nepo wants to win. Maybe he'll keep one of Vishy's pawns on the board, so he can keep trying. This is going to be a very, very interesting endgame, but clearly it's Nepo who's pressing here for the Balan Alaskan Knights. Can we quickly have a look at the game between Nodirbek Abdusattarov and Richard Rapport on board number 2, because it would be very interesting to get the thoughts of you, Salem. What do you think is happening here?
I see that white has a pawn up and looks very nice for white. Of course, black has this octopus on d3, but it controls not so much because all pieces are on more other important squares. So king g3 played by Abdusatorov. He's trying to bring in the game, the king in the game. It looks for me very promising for white. I don't know why computer thinks that it's equal.
The bar is just not working so well.
My brain is not working so.
but clearly, I think
in the meantime, I agree with what Salim is saying here, but there's been a massive swing on board 5, and their position is now, at the very least, not worse for black. I'm looking for a way for black maybe to even be better. It's possibly too early for black to be better in the game between the two Georgian women, but black is completely safe in a number of ways here. Just don't take this pawn. Taking the pawn will allow white to take the pawn on f7 with check and then collect the knight on d7. But both king h8 and also, very interestingly, king f8 maybe are very, very interesting options for Bella there.
Jesse, would you go king f8 and keep this pawn on h7, or it's too scary?
I love that you're asking me the question and I'm the one learning from you. Yeah, king f8 definitely. I mean, you wouldn't want to lose this pawn on f7, right? Because it's kind of scary.
And
Your
she
king
goes
is
for
open.
it.
She plays king f8 here.
Very brave move. Yeah?
I think the only reason not to play this immediately is that the move queen h3 exists.
Yes, and there will be queen f6. I think is her idea in between.
This is a very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens after queen f6?
It's double attack.
Oh.
So white is threatening to push the pawn and threatening the knight. But this check protects the square.
Yeah, now we go king e7. And we
And
have
king e7.
everything pretty much under control.
Wow. And I think, guys, you are just calling out all the moves that are happening on the board. Very high level of commentary we are witnessing here. And now the knight comes in by Nino. It still feels a bit scary with your pawn just one square away from queening.
Yeah, it's very scary. But what is the situation of the match?
Right now the score is 1-1. And I think clearly the Balan Alaskan Knights are doing well on many of the boards. So Ganges Grandmasters are under some pressure in this match, for sure.
Yeah, we try not to look at the evil bar too much. But yeah, we are at 1-1 right now. Rajabov and Dominguez did draw their match as you predicted. Their game was the first to finish. I mean, they were already in the endgame once the queens were off, looking at the analysis board while they were playing. So maybe they already knew the result.
Right. And for the time being, it seems like this one is also looking quite dangerous now for actually the white side, because the white is pawn down already, and that pawn on h7 is now being rounded up.
Yes, but you know, it takes time to win this pawn. Meanwhile, white might create some threats. King is also feeling air there. So, yeah, it could be very tricky to collect and just stabilize. Yeah, that would be the big question now.
Right. Not so easy to stabilize this position as Nino keeps creating threats of her own. Maybe good time to go to board number 4 between Tan Zhongyi and Ho Yifan, because that is one game which could also be very complicated. White was a pawn up right from the opening, but I think she's not been able to get a huge edge there. Black's knight, queen, everything looks very nicely poised.
Yeah, I think probably black is maybe even slightly better now, because the Isolani on d4 is going to get picked up, and as you see on your screen, the pawn has been taken off the board. And as is famously well known and also famously corrected by people who have studied statistics, queen and knight is supposed to be much stronger than queen and bishop. If you look at the stats, it's actually not entirely true, but it is so much part of the chess lore that arguing with that statement is almost sacrilege. And in this particular position, and in rapid game also in particular, I think the statement still holds, because knights are famously very tricky pieces to control, and it's much easier to blunder against the knight than it is against the bishop, which does become a factor when you're playing on seconds, and they will be playing on seconds, already are, in fact.
Like, imagine this position, what we are looking, if black queen will be on h1 giving check right now. This could be a nice fork in the future. So knights are very tricky. Unexpected things can happen.
Right.
Brilliant pattern spot. Wow.
You know, the trend of this match has been, it seems like the Ganges Grandmasters are fighting back on each and every board. So it is not going to be easy for the Balan Alaskan Knights. maybe it's time to look at our icon board one very quick time to see if Vishy Anand is managing to hold this one. It is looking very, very dangerous for the time being. Vishy's pieces are moving in, but he's a pawn down, and the two white pawns look very, very dangerous.
Did he give his pawn with the last move? Did he play h5? Or no, he played. Yes.
It's on h5 for a while, but the pawns look both threatening and also vulnerable because the black pieces are very ready to attack them. And for instance, if white takes the final remaining pawn for black, we can give a check on the square that's controlled by 3 of our 4 knights. One pair gets traded, and then after the king goes back, we can play king b4 simply and start picking them up. I think Vishy actually solved most, if not all, of his problems here and should be holding. It required a lot of precision, and he has taken some decisions over the course of this endgame, which I personally probably wouldn't have taken, and I probably would have lost this game. But he is now on the verge of holding it, and I think very well played by him.
So guys, Jesse, Vishy holding this, Esipenko better, perhaps. We have Fan maybe slightly better. Maybe Ganges Grandmasters doing really well.
Yeah, and we know that a victory. Oh, they agreed on a draw, it seems.
Oh.
Yeah, and now they're discussing the game. And I mean, Jan looked very dissatisfied from the beginning. I mean, he was shaking his head. Maybe he didn't like seeing the Khan. I don't really know why he seemed like he wasn't really enjoying himself there. But yeah, the game is over. He's done suffering. Suffering is over.
Look at Vishy. He looks so fresh. He's like, give me another opponent. I want to play another game here. You know, very, very good game from the black side.
Yeah, I think Jan was clearly the side pressing for the vast majority of that game. And he is actually also, importantly, without victories in this tournament, which is very unusual for him, considering this is a rapid. And he is a very feared rapid player, generally one of the strongest rapid players around. But the icon board is full of icons, as the name suggests. And yeah, winning even one game of chess on this board has proven to be difficult for many a player. I believe young Krzysztof Duda is also maybe without the victory on board 1. So a very, very tough competition there. So yeah, Ganges Grandmasters now seemingly assuming control because Richard Rapport is defending his unpleasant position extremely well, might not lose it. Draw on board 3, draw on board 1. And
big result on board number 6. Raunak Sadhwani has lost his game. Andrei Esipenko wins it. And I think that was huge result for the Ganges Grandmasters. They are now leading the match 6-2.
Is that a time
absolutely
situation?
And the way the positions look,
still down.
Although something really strange happened in the game between Fan and well, maybe not very strange, but I didn't quite understand.
Let's go to board number 4.
Yeah. Fan sacrificed the pawn there, which I thought was not really necessary as such, but I suspect it doesn't really change the evaluation too much. It should still be quite level. Yeah, I think they will probably be agreeing on a draw by repetition. And that draw more or less secures the victory for Ganges Grandmasters, because even if Noribek wins on board 2, this will not be enough to compensate for the victory of Andrei Esipenko with the black pieces on board 6. Because Bela Katanashvili is a pawn up in a completely safe position on board 5. She will not lose that. It's pretty much impossible to lose that position unless you forget about the clock and lose on time. So Ganges Grandmasters are coming out ahead here.
Smiling there. Both of them are smiling. Is it like the game is over, or
seems like game has ended in draw? Yeah.
Shaken hands.
They've shaken hands there.
Yeah, there was a repetition, I guess.
So 3-7 is the score now, and as Peter just mentioned, this is actually looking very bad for the Balan Alaskan Knights. Where are their points coming from here? Is Nodirbek Abdusattarov going to strike in the on the second board? We can quickly have a look at that.
An amazing position because Abdusattarov is 2 pawns up, but the Eval bar is saying if it's working, it's saying that it is equal.
I don't think it's working.
It's not working, yeah?
It's working.
So I thought that the justification could be that black is too active, but it's probably not the case.
I don't think
so.
so.
Yeah, now knight is now coming to f4, and it looks like much better for white. Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely taking a
must win.
sabbatical for today, but we can figure this one out for ourselves. The bigger problem for Balanaskan Knights is with Yesipenko winning and nobody else losing for GG's, the Knights need a win somewhere else. This will not be enough.
So if Nodirbek wins this game, then it means that Nino Batsiashvili on board number 5 needs to win her game. And if we can have a quick look at board number 5 to just see if Nino has any chances with the white pieces, it looks very, very unlikely because she's a pawn down here.
Yeah, I think if anyone has chances, it's probably black. And of course, blunders could always occur, but I don't think so here.
Yeah, 1 minute for Nino, right? And Bella has 30 seconds left. I
think a kind of an important detail here is whether Bella has enough time to actually look up and consider what's happening in the match. Because if she realizes draw is enough here, she can just very safely aim to trade the knights away and then just very calmly offer a draw because there will be nothing really left to play for. The only way she loses if she, for some reason, decides she absolutely must win this with black and somehow overpresses. Even that is difficult to imagine, if I'm honest, but I think that's the only real way for her to lose. So an important thing for her here is just at some point realize draw is enough.
Right. But what a clinical performance by the Ganges Grandmasters. They seem like a team that is so difficult to beat here. Someone or the other just rises to the occasion, like today, Esipenko.
Yeah, they're playing very well. And I just noticed, by the way, that so many opposite-colored bishops in one match. Yeah.
True. This one also an opposite-colored bishop here, but this is very good for the Ganges Grandmasters because if this ends in a draw, then they are actually through. They would have won this match, and which would mean that the Balan Alaskan Knights are in big trouble in this tournament. They might be on the verge of getting knocked out.
Yeah, and it actually looked like Nino almost offered a draw. I don't know if she said it, whether she offered, and Bella just looked to the side to the analysis board, not really happy with accepting that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Wow, if the draw offer was spurned, then, I mean, sort of Bella just right now could have won the match for her team.
Yeah.
But maybe she wants to keep trying. Of course, she's a pawn up. She has nothing to worry here. She is very focused there. That's the thing about team tournaments. You're not just playing on your board, but you're playing for the entire team here.
Yeah, but I think in some cases when you think you are playing risk-free, you also consider, your rating and why not to have more points. Yes, exactly. In the end, some other things also to consider. Why not to play if you can maybe win?
Right, because a win here would mean 3 extra points. A draw gets you 1, while if Bella could win her game, that's 4 game points, and maybe she's trying for that here. Look at the Ganges Grandmasters, very relaxed, all of them smiling there. Nice team spirit.
Yeah, I love that. Yesipenko, Domingos, and Hoyufan standing together. They're in the players' room, enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I feel that actually black made slight progress. Of course, it's still, I think, nothing very special, but where is this knight going? Okay, so after knight e4, there will be knight g6. That's, I guess, the trick.
To give a check.
And then you can always repeat. And then knight, you will have to exchange the knights.
Is there a way to push the black king away here? No?
Maybe some check from here or here. That's what white is trying.
Yes, if black manages to get the knight to c3, then this a-pawn could start saying something, but I don't think it's not easy to get it.
True. Somewhere the manager of Ganges Grandmasters would be saying, Bella, come on, let's draw the game and finish it. We don't want these nerves.
Dinner plans, yeah. And I'm obviously joking, but on the other hand, the situation in the league in general is such that for them it's just much more important to win this match than to win it big, because with the win they will be tied with the Alpine Warriors on 15, with the closest pursuer on 10 points. The Upgrad Mamba Masters will have a match in hand, but even with a win they're still behind, so it doesn't feel that critical, but I still kind of have to admire the professionalism here. You're not running any risks, and an additional 3 board points will never go amiss. Like there's never a situation where it's worse not to have the points rather than not to have them.
Right. And by the way, the result on board number 2 has just arrived. Nodirbek Abdusattarov has won his game, which means the Balan Alaskan Knights are now on 6 points. Ganges Grandmaster still leading with 7. If Nino manages to somehow win this, only then the Balan Alaskan Knights can win this match, which looks very, very unlikely.
Yeah, this game has become even more important now, with only 1 point discrepancy between the two teams. What is your prediction here? What do you think is going to happen?
I think Nino, Bella is actually playing for a win, and I think she will continue doing so. She can draw now this position, because I don't think Nino would be against a draw, but who knows what's going to happen?
Is there a
twist?
chance that the black player forgot that there is, it's not equal with the equal match? You know, that black is actually winning. There might be this, you know. I
don't think so. And at some point, she did take a very hard look at the screen behind her, to the side, checking out the team score. I'm pretty sure she's aware, but she's also a very, very strong player who knows losing this position with black requires a
lot of imagination.
A hand of God experience of some kind. Yeah, it's very, very challenging to actually lose this with black.
True, and right now, white is actually pushing the black king away. And somehow, till this game doesn't end, everyone is going to be on the edge of their seats, because...
I think only Arbiter can stop this game. And it will go on for 75 moves.
Wow. But I mean, there is some progress, right? The king is now in the center for white. Black's king is further away from the d6 pawn. I wonder if it's possible to actually attack this d6 pawn with the white knight.
Yes, I mean, you were saying about white making progress here, Jesse, and that is not what...
Maybe.
Not...
I mean, if she wants a draw, maybe there are ways to put some pressure.
Right. True. True.
There is a way now, a very cooperative way for black to go badly wrong. If you put the bishop back on the b4 square, where it was parked for a very, very long time, and white plays either knight b5 or knight c8, the pawn on d6 actually cannot be defended. And then it does become a bit of an interesting 3-result game to a degree. But obviously, Bella is not going to blunder that, and as long as the bishop can return to e5 and support the pawn will not get dropped.
And for the time being, the bishop gets back there. You could see the look on the players of Ganges Grandmasters in the dugout room. They were a little bit tensed. You have to agree, you know, the smiles had gone. They were all like, okay, come on.
Enough is enough,
Bella,
yeah.
Bella, hold this. Look at Vishy.
That is a lot of passion right there.
Okay, Vishy is talking about his own game.
Yeah, he is talking about a different game, though. He is not gesticulating this wildly about this endgame. This endgame is not that exciting.
True.
I'm sure the broadcast is actually...
that the pawn on a5 is now going to drop. White has actually... No, a very good spot by Bella there. She can still defend it from the e1 square. For a second, I thought black is about to actually lose that pawn because the black piece has lost control with it. Over it.
Right. But it almost seemed like if this game ends in a draw, it almost felt like Ganges Grandmasters were never in trouble in this match, right? They just were so smooth.
Yeah, and the Shchepenko game was always promising, so it felt that they were always in control, yeah?
Right, I mean, Dominguez on board 3 is almost unbeatable. You know, he comes very well prepared. Ho Yifan actually played quite well. I think out of the opening, she was a little bit shaky, but then she did really well. And also, Vishy is kind of, you know, you need Magnus to beat him in this tournament. No one else is getting close to him. So, amazing team there, the Ganges Grandmasters, and they might score the next win.
White
here.
is playing for a Turk, be careful, yeah? There's a huge threat here.
Move the king, give a check, and pick up the bishop, but the bishop went away.
Yeah, I would have kept this king on d3 for some time, not using this check, moving the knight around. Maybe something could happen, yeah?
Hang on a second, knight f6 check and knight... Ah, no, yeah, hang on. This has become It's become very double-edged. No,
yes,
maybe not.
yes.
Knight
Okay,
E8
black luckily has knight f7,
has
knight
knight
e5.
f7, yeah.
Yes, and bishop g6,
But
knight e5.
honestly,
yeah.
white is sort of outplaying black here a little bit, despite being a pawn down. So, yeah, I think that dugout now is maybe not the happiest place on earth because, actually, I mean, I would still assign a very, very low probability to black losing this game, but it's
not impossible.
Yeah.
Peter, you won't bet your house on this, yes?
No. No. For instance, like play bishop d1 right now, and then try to play bishop h5 and attack the knight from the side. It's
King is coming up. The
It's
white
also
king.
interesting, yeah. It's also interesting.
But now we can go. We can bring our own king back. Like, just start marching with our own king towards good squares because we were pushed away with black, but we don't have to be pushed away for very long.
Yeah.
Ooh, and Bella is coming. Nino is coming from the other side, perhaps to give a check. But somehow the white king has no way to enter now. The pawn is controlling this square. This square is controlled by the black king. It still feels safe.
Yeah, no, it's very safe, of course.
Yeah, these bishops are looking like Ali and Nino from Batumi. No matter how close they get to each other, they're never really touching.
Yeah, how many moves did they play so far in this position? When was the last exchange?
99 move.
Whoa.
This is actually the
Move
100th
100.
move now that we are coming to. And a very good question was, when was the last piece traded? The last one was...
Oh, but there was a pawn move, I think.
Yeah, this one. So we can say
This
that...
is move which number?
61. Which means that we are right now, we have completed 40 moves almost.
So 30 more to go?
Yeah.
Unless somebody decides to claim, but I think...
Yeah, push a4, yeah.
Yeah, but I think at this point nobody is going to claim. I think they are just too... they're enjoying themselves a little bit too much playing this endgame somehow. I'm not entirely sure how.
Who's enjoying? That's the question, actually. Is it Nino? Because she needs to win, so she has to play on. But is Bella also enjoying herself?
I'm not sure. Yeah. No smiles there anymore.
Look at Vishy.
That
He's
team
like,
for sure is not enjoying. Yeah? They want the game to end soon and okay, claim the point, the match point.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
But till Nino continues to play, the Balan Alaskan Knights have that very small glimmer of hope, which is what they need.
I'm wondering if white does go with this idea of bringing the bishop around, if black can push the pawn, or in what instance black can actually push this pawn.
I have a question. Like in team events, it used to be possible that the coach can come to the player and ask him, okay, please offer draw.
No
Is this
longer.
still exist or not?
No
No,
longer.
they all overruled this. I think the current FIDE handbook says this is not allowed. You can't discuss draw offers with your players. You can't suggest draw offers to your players. None of this is in the rules anymore. The only thing the captain can do during the match is bring tea.
Tea, yeah.
Very important. Should
Indeed,
not be
yeah, indeed.
underestimated just
Of
how
course.
important that is. And there are some stories, yeah, about teas.
Yeah, we would love to hear one,
Yeah,
Peter.
I think we have
this
time.
is going on?
Yeah, we have time.
Yeah.
Time story.
There was a fabled captain of the USSR even team in the olden days who did some homebrews for teas. And during, I think, the Yerevan Olympiad in 1996, one of our players asked for that tea, and he had a couple of cups. And then he said, I noticed that somebody is singing at the board. And I thought, what a strange person who would sing during a chess game. And then I thought some more, and I realized it's me. so that tea was not used since that much. That particular homebrew was no longer used.
I wonder what kind of tea
So there was lemongrass and something. I'm not sure exactly what went into it, apart from lemongrass, but definitely lemongrass. So yeah, there's definitely some stories about.
He was singing, yeah. So he tried it.
Wasn't me. I did play in that Olympiad, but it wasn't me. No.
Ah, okay.
No, I would tell if like I have no shame about this. I would tell such a story about myself, but no, it's not about myself.
And for the time being, no tea is being brought to the table here. Both the girls going on and on here, and I love how these 5 players just standing there,
They
you know.
cannot sit, yeah. It's impossible to sit.
That's the thing about team tournaments. So much pressure and no one offering a draw. We are on move 110, which means that if we reach the counter of 125, the arbiters can officially come. Oh, 135. Sorry, 135, not 125. 75 moves after the last capture. Then the arbiters can come and stop it. So we are still 25 moves away.
But Bella can claim already if she wants to.
Yeah, she can
Which
claim.
is somewhat relevant because I don't know. I think the position objectively, despite Black having the extra pawn, I think the position objectively is unwinnable. And the team does, at some point, want to have this match over with. So Bella has the option of claiming. I don't know if she realized they already made 50 moves. Probably not, but...
Maybe it's smart for White to allow this A4 push at some point, yeah?
Yeah.
Not sure how smart is that.
Yeah, then she might even lose it. But, you know, right now, actually, she has to try everything.
This is
because
her
if,
best
yeah,
chance.
If she
actually, yeah?
loses, if the game ends in a draw, then the Balan Alaskan Knights are out of the tournament. It's such a big game.
Yeah.
And today, I think we might have two teams who are actually out of the tournament. One is the Chingari Gulf Titans, who lost to the Triveni Continental Kings. Oh, they drew. They drew there.
Yeah,
wow.
It's finally over.
Finally over. And with this, the Ganges Grandmasters have actually won this match with a score of 8-7. Very small margin, but a very solid victory.
So who are the 4 teams that are fighting for the final?
Well, now it means that we have the SG Alpine Warriors at the top. In fact, Ganges Grandmasters have actually toppled them right now. So Ganges Grandmasters at the top, SG Alpine Warriors at number 2 position. We have the Upgrad Mumba Masters in with a chance. And also today, the Triveni Continental Kings won their game, led by Levon Aronian. So these are the 4 teams technically who are in with chance to reach the grand finals.
Wow.
Yeah, and still many games to go, but it's all for today.
Yeah, look at the smiles on the face of the Ganges Grandmasters team. Bella there getting the job done. She was better, but in the end, a draw was enough. And with this, the Ganges Grandmasters go home with a smile on their faces and many spectators coming in. Time for a short break.
The Ganges Grandmasters strike back with a win over the Balan Alaskan Knights. And we've got multiple-time Women World Champion joining us, playing on board number 4, Hu Yufan. Yufan, congratulations on today's win.
Thank you, Tanya. I thought we were kind of not really lucky, but it would be a very important win for the team as we really suffered in the previous 2 rounds. I didn't really follow the progress of the whole match, but after I finished my game, it seems like we're kind of winning because Andre already won, right? And Bella seems like have a very good position, but without any risk. But finally, the game ended in a draw.
You mentioned you had these 2 difficult matches, and then today you won, a very important confidence boost. How do you turn this around? How do you switch from these difficult matches?
That's a secret from the team.
Oh,
well, actually, yesterday
Whoa.
the whole team went for a show.
Oh.
Yeah, so therefore our coach just said, you know, maybe every evening after the match we should go for somewhere. Special
That's
preparation.
The secret, is not it?
Oof, the secret
Beautiful.
sauce. You went for a show. Can you reveal what it was?
I think it's a kind of famous one in Dubai called La Perla. So sorry for my
Wow.
pronunciation, but it's a very nice one. The performance was kind of related with the water and was kind of designed by a famous artist.
Wow, amazing. Yufan, you are not playing chess that much as you used to, and we want to see you playing chess. And this is a new format, Global Chess League. Can you please share with us your opinion about this tournament? What you like about it?
Well, in general, I thought this is a very innovative event with a lot of new creative ideas. And also, it's like not only a chess event, but a festival, a gala that trying to put together all the top potential strong players together. I really love it. I thought this is the way for the future to promote chess in general. And for myself, I'm also like the first time to be a team with the top players, but from all over the world, including Vichy, Richard, and all the others. I thought this is just a wonderful experience. I mean, it looks like here every team really gathered as a team, prepare seriously and fight together and trying to perform as the best as they can. But on the other hand, it's not really like other title event that's serious. We're also doing a lot of promo events, inviting different spectators to come to watch it. I thought this is a way, I think, to attract more fans, get involved with the chess.
Truly a unique event, the Tech Mahindra Global Chess League. The players are inspired to give their best. Let's take a look at the scoreline with which the Ganges Grandmasters took down the Balan Alaskan Knights. And we see a draw on the icon boards. A big result with Andrei Asipenko taking the win. And there were these interesting moments at the end, where your team had the upper hand, but you needed that draw on that final game. And we could see in the dugout how much tension was there when that game was going on.
We saw Vishyad and been so emotional.
Actually, we were not talking about their game. About the other games. But of course, we're always following how game goes. But there's a clear idea. Firstly, we trust Bella because she's a great player, very experienced. And of course, with such a position, a pawn up, black side would be the one who would never lose it unless there's some weakness. I mean, some blunders would give up the d6 pawn. That's the only case. So therefore, every time we were trying to check that there will be bishop retreat, knight retreats, or king, just to make sure. Yeah, with d6 pawn, everything would just be like at least equal.
Yeah, and Bella did a fantastic job of holding that position.
Definitely.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard with this matchup. We've had some turnarounds, Ketty.
Yes.
Wow.
And
I didn't know it.
well, this is for sure happy news for you if you haven't seen it yet. Tanya, we have seen so much of fight between 2 teams, Alpine Warriors and Ganges Grandmasters. They're switching, this is my turn now, I'm gonna be first. And then the other day is like, no, it's my turn to be the first. So today is a day of Ganges Grandmasters indeed.
What do you think about that? This up and down battle between the Ganges Grandmasters and the SG Alpine Warriors?
Well, I thought that in general with this format, this is really, by the way, well designed, brings a lot of exciting moments. But with such format, especially the first half, we don't know the colors. I thought on the one hand, we were lucky that we got 4 whites. I think 4 whites out of 5 match. But on the other hand, it would make the second part maybe a little bit more tougher. So I believe anything can happen. Yeah, I think, and we're ready for any unexpected, well, maybe challenges or maybe victories. I think we're just trying our best.
And that's what makes it so exciting. It's just so unpredictable.
But also with this rapid chess, to be honest, we do not have much time really to follow what's going on and make our decisions. So, for example, even for Bella's game today, I believe when she's within seconds, maybe she even didn't trying to follow the results. But once she's got more than a minute, I see she's just turning to check the results and immediately made a draw. So that shows how tense it could be actually.
And Katy, there are only 2 more matches remaining to make it to the grand final.
Right. Last 2 days indeed. And for the players, it should be very exciting and a bit nervous as well. Is it?
I think we're more exciting, maybe.
That's the spirit.
That's the spirit.
They know they're at the top, Katy, and definitely reasons. But looking ahead, how do you assess your chances, your team chances to become champions of the first ever Tech Mahindra Global Chess League?
Well, I think after the previous few rounds, it's better not to expect too much and just be ready for every match. I think that's our strategy. And now after back into this leaderboard, I believe we definitely have some chances. But again, with 2 blacks, actually, we don't know, and it looks like every team was some team maybe didn't perform very well at the beginning, but they're also trying to fight back, so anything can happen.
Yifan, it's been amazing to watch you and your team fight it out. Incredible battles, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Multiple-time women world champion, part of the leading squad of the Ganges Grandmasters. The action continues at the Tech Mahindra Global Chess League as we'll be back to business with these 4 matches coming up. We've got the Upgrad Mumbai Masters taking on the Chingari Gulf Titans, and then a big one as we'll see the Triveni Continental Kings against the Magnus Carlsen-led SG Alpine Warriors. And that's not all. We will be back with Vishy Anand's Ganges Grandmasters against the Upgrad Mumbai Masters, the Balin Alaskan Knights with the Triveni Continental Kings. Katy, which match are you most excited about?
You know what? All these matches are so important. There is a fight for the top seats and there is a fight of the last bottom seats as well. But Tanya, today was a day, I think the most exciting day for me to observe all these games. And tomorrow it will be double excitement because we have double matches.
We love it. Double excitement, and it continues tomorrow. We will be back with all the chess and the top class players fighting it out at the Global Chess League. We'll see you tomorrow.
Why are we